Hello and welcome to Versailles, where it is finals day at the Paralympic Rowing Regatta Paris 2024. A busy 2 days of qualifying heats and repechage racing have produced 30 boats chasing the Paralympic Dream Gold Medal in our 5 boat divisions. The sun is up, the grandstands are full, the Nautical Arena, the host venue for the rowing and canoeing events in this balmy Olympic and Paralympic summer, looks utterly resplendent today. 22 degrees out there. It is nice and warm. We couldn't have better conditions for rowing. Today, the final day of power rowing then at the 5th Paralympic Rowing Regatta. We'll see 5 B finals and 5 A finals, the gold medal races. My name's Andy Bodfish. Alongside me in the commentary box is 4-time Olympian, bronze medalist from London 2012, Megan Calmo. We've had the hors d'oeuvre. Megan, now for the main dish, our finals. It's all set up, and what a beautiful looking arena Versailles is today.
Yeah, we're getting a great shot here of just how fantastic the conditions are going to be for us as we kick off the program here at the Para Rowing Regatta at Versailles. Water looks great, the sun is shining, and the stands are indeed filling up, which is exactly what we love to see. A nice loud crowd for these athletes.
Okay, so we're going to get cracking with the PR women's single sculls. The B final ahead of the A final. Coup de bâton, this tradition from French theatre, opens up the racing. This is Stéphane Tardieu, a 2-time medalist in the para rowing for France. He competed with the Pearl Bouge, who has a new partner and going for more medals today. Pearl, the French, the nation, the only nation here, perhaps fittingly, in front of their home supporters who have qualified boats, not only in all 5 divisions, but all 5 A finals as well. What a day it could be for the tricolor nation. But we're going to start with the B final in the PR1 women's single scull. So these are the athletes who didn't quite make it through to the medal race, but they're fighting for a top spot, a possible top spot of 7th here. And it's all to play for in this opening B final. From Kenya, lane 1, Asia Sururu, another Paralympic rowing regatta for the 32-year-old from Mombasa. Eva Einarsson from Sweden with the first boat in the para rowing. She goes in lane 2. We have Wang Li, who has downgraded really. She was a silver medalist in Rio on the lagoon 8 years ago, but goes for a highest finish of 7th here. Claire Giringeli, 46. Again, the Swiss had never got a boat in the para rowing. But Giringeli goes here in this B final. Makayo Desatarova, one of the 4 teenagers in the field, bronze at the Asian Para Games in lane 5, and 8th in Tokyo. Brenda Sardon is in another B final here, 3 years on. The 31-year-old from La Plata in Argentina.
Kenya, Sweden, China, Switzerland, Uzbekistan, Argentina. Attention.
Calm water here at Versailles, but make no mistake about it, the racing is going to be hectic. This is the B final in the PR1 women's single sculls on the final day of racing here at Paris 2024 in the Para Rowing Regatta. Sururu of Kenya, Einarsson of Sweden, Wang of China, Giringeli, Switzerland, Uzbekistan's Desatarova, and Sardon of Argentina in lanes 1 to 6. As ever, we'll focus probably on the middle lanes, Wang and Giringeli of China and Switzerland, who will be the favourites, and indeed it's Wang who's got out the quicker.
Yeah, well, that was a painfully long hold by the starter there for these single athletes. Gosh, it's just such high tension when you're sitting in the blocks waiting to get going with your racing, and they really held these athletes for a long time before they let them go. But it does look like it is the Chinese athlete Wang Li who's gotten her bao out in front, and let's keep our eyes here on Claire Giringhelli of Switzerland. She had such a tough go out of the blocks yesterday in the repechage, and it may have ended up costing her an advancement into the A final, but we can see she's recovered from that, taking some notes from yesterday's racing, and here she is out in front tracking this athlete from China.
Yeah, it's looking like China versus Switzerland, the way this one is panning out. This is the B final, so the highest these athletes can finish in the regatta in this boat division is 7th. It's a mainstay boat division in the para rowing, first put on the programme in 2008 in Beijing. A little before Wang's time, she got her silver in Rio on Lagoa de Freitas 8 years ago. The 42-year-old from Jindroit, who's transferred from sitting volleyball. But this is Giringhelli picking up the pace from Switzerland in that side-by lane. A stroke rate of 35 a minute. They're travelling at over 10 kilometres an hour here. Wang just about has the edge from Giringhelli. It is China and Switzerland 1 and 2.
Yeah, so Giringhelli looking to make her mark in para rowing here as the first ever para rower to represent Switzerland at the Games. It does look like she's doing a nice job just to get herself up and in the running here against this experienced Paralympic medalist Wang Li. A lot of potential here in Claire Giringhelli. She's actually French-born and lives outside of Paris, but here she is racing in the Swiss colors at the Paralympic Regatta and out in front, chasing that first place position here in that B final for this PR1 women's single.
It's going to be very tight here at the 500 mark, quarter race distance. All of these races run over 2 kilometres. It seems that the race length is going to be shortened when we get round to LA 2028, but it's still 2K here. Giringhelli right up at the bow there of Wang. And
here's a shot of our Swedish athlete, one of our younger athletes in the field, the first-time Paralympian there in Ebba Einarsson. Started rowing as a junior athlete or a U19 athlete in Sweden and then came back to the sport following her impairment just for a love of rowing and getting out on the water. Missed out on qualifying for Tokyo, but here she is. She's made it to Paris 2020 and representing Sweden here in this B final.
Yeah, we've had 3 new nations entering boats into this the Paralympic Regatta here and the waters at Versailles. Sweden, one of those nations. There we see the battle for the lead. It's still just about Wang, but it's nip and tuck, isn't it? Giringhelli, who actually just about had the lead at the 500, but Wang responded brilliantly, and it's 3 on the bow there of Wang Li, who has that slight edge over Giringhelli. Einarsson best of the rest, and Brenda Sardon there 9.53 down at the 500. The 31-year-old has good Paralympic experience. Sardon also studied for a degree in humanities and the social sciences at the National University of La Plata in Argentina. A lot of our Paralympic rowers are multi-skilled, multi-talented athletes, and there's Einarsson with 2 on the bow, the 24-year-old Swede, going really well, but I don't think first place is quite realistic at the moment for Einarsson. It's between Giringhelli and Wang there, stroke for stroke, at the front of this B final race.
Yeah, just getting that zoom out shot, I thought maybe that we were going to see a little bit of momentum shift there in the Swiss boat, because it does look like Giringhelli's really getting some good purchase on the water, getting the blades in, and a nice long pry on the oars there, just moving the boat right along, tracking Wang Li very closely there on the left. But it does look like it is just still stroke for stroke between those 2 crews out in front. Claire Giringhelli of Switzerland versus Wang Li of China, leading this B final by quite a big margin at this stage.
Coming up to the K, half race distance. Giringhelli at 31 strokes a minute, 10.4 kilometres an hour. That is how close it is. Absolutely fantastic to see this battle for top spot in the B final. Wow. I think it's just Wang, isn't it, there from Giringhelli? Yeah, 400ths of a second. Wow. That's how close it is. Einerson still in third.
Well, these two are definitely getting their money's worth here at the Paralympic Games, aren't they? They're going to have a real battle on their hands here coming into the second 1,000 meters. It could come down to just experience versus guts, I think, in this second 1,000 meters. I think Claire Guerin-Gelly maybe had her eyes set on an A final position in the repechage yesterday, and again, just with that really tough start out of the blocks for her, had a little mistake maybe that ended up costing her that position, and this is her opportunity to make up for that and see if she can come away with the win in the B final here.
Yeah, we do see para rowers competing hard, well into their 40s. Guerin-Gelly at 46, Wang Li at 42. There's a big drift there over to the right-hand side of the lane there from Guerin-Gelly. She needs to effect that correction. Lost a little bit of ground as she tries to do that, and Wang has, well, as big a lead as she's enjoyed in this entire race thus far as we push into the second K. It is Wang Li from Claire Guerin-Gelly still 1 and 2.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe the wind is having a little bit of an effect here on Claire Guerin-Gelly as she's further out into the middle of the course and maybe getting just a touch more of the little bit of cross breeze that we're seeing affecting the water in this shot. That steering correction can be costly in these singles because it does have to happen manually. You have to steer with the oars. There's no steering mechanism in these boats, so the athletes have to do that just with oar pressure. And that can be time consuming and take attention away from what you're trying to do, moving the boat forward instead of side to side laterally there inside your lane. So maybe that is what we're seeing here as Wang Li is starting to open up a bigger lead here with every single stroke.
Wang still leads. There's Guerin-Gelly, and just to the right of your shot there as we're going to zoom in on Einerson, still holding third place and around about 5 seconds at the K over Brenda Sardon of Argentina for the 24-year-old Swede. So 9th in the single at the World Champs last year. Has also finished 8th and 12th, going back to her debut World Championship performance in Linz in Austria in 2019. Wang is pushing out at the head of the field. It's looking good for China here, and the silver medalist from Rio 2016, who is hunting down 7th place here at Paris 2024.
Yeah, that beautiful overhead shot. While beautiful, the sparkle on the water does indicate to us that there are some conditions at play here. It does mean that the wind is kicking up on the water in at least some direction, and the conditions have been known to change here at Versailles, so we may see that switch around through the course of the racing program. But for now, the conditions are still really pretty good, flat enough for these things. We can see that Claire Guerin-Gelly is still just playing with those buoys on the port side, just awfully close to that lane line. And in a little boat like the single, you do not want to mess around with those buoys.
So our top two, Wang and Guerin-Gelly, are in the last quarter of this race, followed by Ebba Einerson still holding third, and that's Sardon in 4th place, Dutaroba of Uzbekistan, and then Sururu of Kenya completing the lineup. Einerson 20 seconds down at the 1500 mark on Wang's race leading time of 8:26.72. Hunting down the win in this B final. Just by way of a reference point, Maureen Samuel, one of the big gold medal challengers to Birgit Skarstein's crown when we get to the A final. She has set the new Paralympic Games best time in this boat division, 9:58.02. She absolutely exploded the rest of the field in qualifying heats 48 hours ago. So that is the quickest time anyone has ever raced the PR1 women's single at the Paralympic Games best time. Skarstein has the world best time of 9:47.83. So we're not going to get close to that here, but that doesn't matter for Wang. She is hunting a win in a Paralympic final in this B final here in the women's single. And Guerin-Gelly more than respectable on her Paralympic debut. The first Swiss para-rower ever to be at the Games is going to come in 8th place by the looks of things, all told.
Yeah, it does look like that experience, that Paralympic experience of Wang Li, the Chinese athlete who's out in front here, is just coming into play here. Having won Paralympic medal in this event, having finished 6th at the World Championships last year in Belgrade. All those things just add up and come into play when you have your final performance here on the big stage at the Paralympics, and she's just executing her race plan, well-timed here to get herself out in front in these closing meters of the race.
Yeah, Wang Li, she held off the challenge of Guerin-Gelly in the early portion of the race, and we see the ticker indicating the meters running out on this nautical racetrack northeast of Paris. It's going to be a comfortable win in the end for Wang Lili in lane 3. Nice and smooth, in control, and has the victory locked down now in this B final. Followed by FPQR qualifier Giringeli. But it is going to be the Wonder Woman Wang from China coming in to win this B final, and a finish of 7th ultimately in the PR1 women's single sculls. Giringeli closing in at the line, so she will finish 8th. And that's a wonderful return, really, from Claire Giringeli. Our first 2 finishes there in the B final will be followed by Ebba Einarsson of Sweden. And the first Swede in the singles at the Paralympic Games. Here she is, finishing 9th. And it will be Sardon, Abdusatarova and Sororo, Argentina, Uzbekistan and Kenya closing out this first race on the final day at Paris 2024.
Yeah, here's a shot of Brenda Sardon just coming across the line now. Another one of our experienced Paralympians just finishing up her race. And following close behind, that signature high rating of Mikhail Abdusatarova. The Uzbekistani athlete made such a splash at the FOPQR with this dynamic racing style. Here she is coming across the line now.
Yep, and Asiya Sururu, who finishes last in this B final. It's another finish of 12th. That's a finishing spot at Tokyo, the Sea Forest Waterway 3 years ago. Yeah, we see the bronze medalist at the Asian Para Games, Abdusatarova there. She's beaten into 3rd by Wang, who is our race winner here. The Asian Para Games champion from home waters in Hangzhou a year ago, who has taken this big final ahead of Giringeli there. And Einarsson in 3rd place.
Yeah, here we go. We saw this nice response of Claire Giringeli getting right up and off the line. Big improvement from her start that she had yesterday in the repechage. Brenda Sardon of Argentina getting the best of those first 10 strokes or so, getting her bow about all in front. But it was the experience of Wang Lili just showing early on here and then getting into a nice working rhythm despite this really aggressive charge in the first 1,000 meters that we saw from the Swiss sculler. Great debutante performance by our Swedish sculler, one of our younger athletes in the field, first time Paralympian for Sweden in the PR1 women's single. But there she is, Claire Giringeli. Huge effort in the first 1K, but the experience of the Chinese athletes through the second half of the race was a little bit too much. With the addition of some steering corrections that we could see from those lovely overhead shots, the conditions might have come into play a little bit in the middle of the race.
Three on the bow, but very much number 1 in this B final. Wang. Silver in Rio behind Great Britain's Rachel Morris 8 years ago. And difficult on occasion for some rowers, non-para rowers and para rowers, to get to the majority of World Cup events in Europe, and world champs based in Europe as well. It's sometimes very difficult to gauge the progress of athletes like Wang, unable to make another A final, but taking the win in the petit finale here ahead of Switzerland and Sweden. Wang Lili then in 11:21.85 wins the B final in the PR1 women's single ahead of Claire Giringeli of Switzerland and Ebba Einarsson of Sweden. So, the winner of the first race of finals day. You can now take in the rest of the racing. Wang, Giringeli, and Ebba Einarsson here. And reflect on a job well done.
Yeah, bright future and a long career ahead of this Swedish sculler should she decide that she wants to stay with the sport. Just getting started. Okay, good to see a wave there from our second place finisher in this B final. Shout to the crowd there from the water, Claire Giringeli, also a debutante here in Paris.
Flags of all nations in the field being waved high and proud. And that's great to see. Now then, if you're a local, you're following France, what a day in store with the French competing on all fronts in these 5 boat divisions.
Hopes will be high. They have a number of returning medalists from Tokyo racing in these events, and along with them, some new, brand new, younger athletes who are going to be showing for the first time at the Paralympics. So a great mix of experience in those French lineups and high hopes with all of them racing down the track in these A finals later on today.
Yeah, Alexis Sanchez will be going for the French in the A final in the men's single.
And we're going to hope that the camera director finds the fathead in the stands again. We need to see that big face.
I want to see the big brass Oompa Loompa band as well.
Well, we'll hope for that as well.
Which was a big feature of racing on the first 2 days here. Now then, 4 boats in the B final in the men's single. Ben Pritchard set the Paralympic Games best time, 8:51.26 sub 9 minutes. The magical marker in the men's event. Canada, Spain, Germany, Japan here gunning for a best possible finish of 7th.
This will be determining places 7, 8, 9 and 10 overall.
Well, it's spectacular success already for Jacob Wasserman to be in a boat on the water here in Versailles. The 24-year-old only took up para rowing in 2022, and here he is in with a shout of making a Paralympic finals win. Javier Garcia won the European qualifier, 8th at the World Champs. The 28-year-old from Thea. Marcus Klemp, his Paralympic career goes all the way back to Beijing, where he was just off the podium in 4th. He's 42 now, the Rostock native. And 50 years young, Takuya Mori goes in lane 4 for Japan.
Just 4 boats contesting in this B final here. And this, as I say, determining places 7, 8, 9 and 10. The last race for these PR1 men's single sculls.
Canada, Spain, Germany, Japan, attention.
Four boats in the B final of the PR1 men's single sculls. We've lost a couple of competitors from the original 12-strong entry lists. The Uzbekistani sculler and the Tunisian have dropped out through injury. So we're looking here at Wasserman, Garcia, Klemp and Murray from Canada, Spain, Germany and Japan.
Well, that was a ripping start there over in the middle of the course from Javier Garcia Martinez. Got a little crazy, saw one of the blades go straight up in the air as he caught a little bit of water, but does look like he's recovered now and is leading the field. Looks like about half a boat length for the Spaniard over the Japanese athlete and very experienced athlete from Germany, Marcus Klemp.
Yeah, we expect Klemp to come through here with 3 on the bow there. That's yellow canvas of the German boat. The 8th place, the finisher in Tokyo, Klemp. So 2nd place, effectively, in this event, the B final. But indeed, it is Javier Garcia, the Spaniard, who is out the quicker here in this petit finale in the men's single. Spaniards who just about has the edge. Klemp has come through, and dropping Murray and Wasserman over there in lane 1 out of sight at present, the Canadian. It looks like Klemp here is going to row through Garcia, the Spaniard. Germany taking the lead in this big final from Spain.
Yeah, well, Marcus Klemp knows this event very well. There are very few athletes at the para-rowing regatta that are going to be as versatile and as experienced as this German athlete. He's rowed in all of the different Paralympic boat classes for Germany over his very long career, which dates back to, well, 2001 is when he picked up the sport and made his first team not long after. And he's rowed in the mixed 4, he's rowed in the double, and here he is rowing in the single. 4th place at the World Championships last year in this event, so he's got just a ton of experience. He knows the distance, he knows the discipline, and in the middle lane here alongside the Spanish athlete who's making his Paralympic debut, we expect Marcus Klemp to give him a really nice race all the way down the track.
At the 500 then, it's going to be Marcus Klemp from Javier Garcia. There we go. Germany in the lead at 2:23.95, but Garcia within 2 seconds, and then Murray another 4 seconds back, and that's Jacob Wasserman. But absolutely fantastic for him to be competitive here at the Paralympics, having taken up the para rowing so recently as 2022. And contrast that, you just mentioned it there, Megan, with the longevity and the history and the heritage within that German boat occupied by Marcus Klemp. The first medal at the World Champs came over 2 decades ago, Milan, back in 2003, when he was a silver medalist in the legs, trunk and arms, the Coxed 4. Slight tweaking to the naming in the nomenclature of these Paralympic classifications. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 medals at World Champs down the years for Marcus Klemp. And he had his 4th place in Beijing in 2008 and 8th 3 years ago on the Sea Forest Waterway. But we're rowing now with the Spaniard Garcia, who's 28. He's from Murcia. And this would be a more than respectable finish if he could hold this and come in 8th place in a big final at the Paralympics.
Absolutely. Anytime you get the opportunity to line up and race against these super experienced multi-time Paralympians like this German athlete, Marcus Klemp, that's a great opportunity for a young athlete who's just getting into the sport, like the Spanish athlete, Javier Garcia Martinez. He's going to take some notes from this regardless of the outcome and just make sure he's putting them down for next season, because no doubt he's just getting started with his career, and this will be something that he'll look back on well, maybe decades from now, if he has a career that tracks the career of Marcus Klemp, who's been doing para-rowing competition for just decades. Long time for this German athlete. Such great and admirable longevity. Something we see often in the sport, actually. We have multiple athletes who are going to be competing throughout the program today who are 3-, 4-, and 5-time Paralympians. So not uncommon to see it actually here at the Paralympics, but Marcus is just such a great example of getting into the sport and sticking with it, and what long-term success can look like in para-rowing.
At the K then, it's Klemp from Garcia. He had that lane of 1:59 over the Spaniard at 500 mark, and the gap has just increased to the best part of 5 seconds now at mid-race distance. And Takeo Mori coming to your picture there from Japan. He's in 3rd place in this 4-boat race, so 10 finishers rather than the 12 entrants that we had at the very start of this regatta. The PR1, the men's single, has been on the programme since day 1 of para-rowing at the Paralympic Games. Para-rowing put onto the programme for the first time in China, Beijing 2008. Tom Agger won that The first gold medal for Britain and China. Got a gold in 2012 with Chen Kuang, and then last 2 Olympic Games, Roman Polyansky is going for the three-peat a little later in the A final, the birthday boy Polyansky. But it is Markus Klemp in complete control of this B final for Germany.
Yeah, here's a nice shot of our Spanish athlete who's in that second place position currently. We can talk a little bit about the PR1 classification while we have a nice close-up shot of the equipment. This PR1 classification is going to be for athletes who classify with limited or no functional use of their trunk or their lower limbs. So we'll see the athletes, here we go again, have a strap across the torso and often across their legs as well, because they're not able to use the sliding seat in the boat. So that's a fixed seat. The seat does not move at all, and it's just the athletes moving the boat with their arms and their shoulders primarily. So using some of the smallest muscles in the body actually to move these boats down the 2K distance is just a really impressive thing. And here we go. We can get that long shot now of our race leaders, Markus Klemp and Javier Garcia Martinez. Out in front, big margin for them in this B final.
I always like those shots down the course as well, because it gives you a wider sense of perspective of just how wide those lanes are. 13 metres, aren't they? 13.5 metres, I think those lanes are wide. You don't necessarily get that sense from the side-on camera view. What we're looking at here as we come up to the 1500 mark at 3/4 race distance is Germany still leading out Spain. And it'll be Mori still in 4th place from Canada's Wasserman. So 7:21.84 at the 1500, and he's just been increasing that lead, Klemp, over Garcia by increments at each split. 1:59 at the 500, 4:91 at the 1000, and the lead is now 8:17 as we push into the last quarter of this race.
Yeah, the experience of Klemp just does start to show in the second half of the race in particular, doesn't it? He's just been super consistent, just slowly working on extending that lead over his competitors as we progress down the track. And there you can see, yeah, it's just really starting to open up now in this last 500 meters of the course. Not sure how much he's going to turn on the afterburners and throw down a sprint here in the last 500, but it is just growing ever wider, the gap between Markus Klemp of Germany and Javier Garcia Martinez of Spain. To my eye, it does look like maybe the Spanish athlete is starting to mount a bit of a sprint and see if he can claw back some of that gap that the German athlete has continued to open down the track. But we're just going to focus in on the race leader here. The German athlete really out in front from the first 500, from the get-go, leading the way here in this B final for the men's PR1 single.
Slightly surprising with the German heritage in rowing. That nation have only ever won one medal in para rowing at the Games. That was a silver in the mixed Coxed 4 in 2012 in London at Eton Dorney. And it's going to be a B final win here and an improvement by 1 place on Klemp's finish from the Sea Forest Waterway course 3 years ago in Tokyo. And Javier Garcia, a really strong Skull here to finish 8th. And Klemp's spot from 3 years ago. This time around here in Paris, there he is. Javier Rejo is 4th in Tokyo. Garcia is going to come in 2nd in the B final. But this is Markus Klemp, the dominant Deutschlander, winning the B final here in the PR1 men's single. Well played, sir. And coming over the line, 2nd place to finish 8th in the para regatta. That's Garcia. Klemp is spent, but it was in control the whole way through. Spain finished 2nd. And I'm sure we'll take a glance up in a moment here to review the finish here of Takuya Mori of Japan, the 50-year-old. Bronze in the Asian Para Games at Hangzhou last year. Comes in the penultimate spot in the B final at Paris 2024 in the single.
Yeah, fantastic to have this athlete here, 50 years old and debuting his Paralympic career absolutely fantastic.
Here he is, over the line then, Takuya Mori. Important for him to get a finish. And then the America's qualifying winner we'll see as well, Jacob Wasserman from Canada, who will complete the race here. Some way down behind the experienced Klemp. I'm sure we'll see him again, won't we, in LA. These para-rowers can often go well on into their 50s. Wasserman, by contrast, is at the very start of his career. I think you mentioned it earlier in the regatta, Megan. Maybe one to watch out for in LA. Wasserman, he's going to close out this B final. The 24-year-old from Saskatoon.
Yeah, great reception for Jacob Wasserman of Canada from this crowd down here at Versailles. Just bringing him home here to round out the field for our B final.
Yep, won by Klemp, Garcia second, and Murray in third place, and fourth here for a finish of 10th in the PR1 men's single, Jacob Wasserman of Canada.
Well, this is just such a super field. We should be looking forward to the final in this PR1 men's event. Back up to the start line, we can see this really energetic start from the Spaniard, but whoa, there was a little bit of a crazy blade moment there. Recovered nicely and got himself scooted out in front of Marcus Klemp and the Japanese athlete over on the close side of the picture. But it was the experience of Marcus Klemp came into play. Took his time to work through the fast-starting Spaniard early on in the race and never looked back. Very consistent down the course, Marcus Klemp, the only returning Paralympian in this B final for the men's PR1 single. Exuberant effort here from the Spanish athlete, but not quite up to speed with the German athlete.
So that's the second of our 10 races done and dusted on finals day here at Versailles.
There he is, our B final winner. Looks happy to be back at the dock.
Working day done. They've just gone 10 in the morning.
Time to go enjoy the Oompa
Indeed,
band.
yeah. We're going to see some fabulous finals and some really quick times as well, I suspect.
A little kiss there from Javier Garcia Martinez. A lot of flags today. They're blowing awfully a lot too, which is not always our favorite thing to see at the rowing venue, but still doing okay, I'd say.
Klemp takes the B final in the PR1 men's single. Garcia from Spain second, Mori of Japan third, Wasserman of Canada in fourth place. Well, the next boat class, PR2 mixed double. We've got Davier and Bouge, the host nation. And for gold in the A final, a little bit later on, we're going to see 3 boats in this B final. The Irish go in this B final as well. Where are the leprechaun outfits?
Yeah, a little bit of where's Wally here looking for
green hat.
For some. There they are.
There they are.
There they are. Couldn't have a day of rowing without the Irish fans in the stands. Spotted.
Yep, a pair of medals, a gold and a bronze in the Summer Games regatta here on this course just a few short weeks ago. O'Donnell and O'Brien will be going for 7th place. The boat division utterly dominated by Rouse and Stevenson from Great Britain, who set a world best time in qualifying at 7:56.92, quickest anyone's ever raced this event, the PR2 mixed double.
Well, we had a really tough progression in this event yesterday. Just top 2 to go out of the repechage, landing the rest of these crews into this B final. Really great turn up from the Irish crew in that repechage. Katie O'Brien, Kieran O'Donnell. Pretty young crew, but going toe-to-toe with some of the more experienced athletes and crews in this PR2 field. So I think they can be really pleased with any of the notes that they took from their repechage yesterday and should be able to apply them today.
Yeah, it's an indication of just how increasingly competitive para-rowing is becoming in all the boat divisions. Esther van der Loos and Corne de Koning failed to make the A final here from the Netherlands. Corne, who was a silver medalist in Tokyo with another partner. Nursen Sen and Yigit Boschkurt in lane 1 for Turkey. Boats in the summer regatta and the Paralympic regatta, a breakthrough summer for them, the Turks. So van der Loos and Corne de Koning have partnered up after 8 years apart. Corne de Koning won the silver in Tokyo with Anneke van der Meer. They'll be favourites, you would suspect, in this B final. But what can Tiernan O'Donnell and Katie O'Brien do for Ireland in the near side lane? Had a Paralympic birthday on day 1 of the regatta. Katie O'Brien turned 28.
The conditions looking absolutely ideal.
Previous world champion in the singles in 2022 in this Paralympic classification.
Saturday, so unlikely to hit some of the fastest times that we were set on Friday. But
well, I think we might have the fun fact of having our youngest para-rowing competitor. Here he is. Yigit Boschkurt there in the stroke seat of the Turkish double. And also our oldest competitor, Esther van der Loos, there in the bow seat of the Dutch double, going head-to-head here.
The Netherlands, Ireland, attention.
This is the B final in the mixed double sculls for para-rowers with a PR2 classification. 9 boats entered into this event, so we have our 6 boats in the final, and then 3 here in the petit finale. Sen and Boschkurt of Turkey, Loos and Koning of the Netherlands, O'Donnell and O'Brien of Ireland. And look at the surge out of the traps from Esther van der Loos and Corne de Koning in that middle lane in that distinctive orange boat.
Yeah, our only returning Paralympians in this B final, that Dutch boat of Corne de Koning and Esther van der Loos really made the most of the start. It did look like the Irish boat maybe had a little bit of a struggle. Not sure if they missed the signal or didn't quite have their blades ready to go, but a little bit slow out of the blocks for Tiernan and Katie there on the bottom of your picture. So it does look like they've lost just about a length already to the Dutch crew after having such a good race against them yesterday. They were really going toe-to-toe, this Irish boat and this Dutch boat in the repechage. But here we are, our race leaders, experienced Paralympic duo here, back together, reunited in their same combination they raced at Rio. The leading the field here looks like by open water now over this Irish combination. Yeah, and in that race, that final in Rio, they were fourth, Corne de Koning and Esther van der Loos. She's 56, Esther van der Loos. Fantastic to see her competing still here in the para rowing at the Games. Has also competed in para-Nordic skiing for the Netherlands. Esther van der Loos actually retired after Rio, didn't she, to become a coach. There's a reserve in the Tokyo at Corne de Koning with a variety of partners, Anneke van der Meer and then Chantal Heinen. But when Chantal moved over to hand cycling, Esther van der Loos came in to re-team up with the Corne de Koning, who is at 34 and won the second place, the silver medal with Van der Meer on the Sea Forest Waterway 3 years ago. So it hasn't happened for them in terms of A final qualification for the Netherlands, but they're in charge of this B final. Tiernan O'Donnell and Katie O'Brien being competitive though at the 500, but it is the Netherlands who lead 2:07.33, and they have a lead of just over 4 seconds over the Irish, and Turkey are off the back. Yeah, with this shot looking up the stern of this Irish boat, you can get a sense of just how dynamic this duo is, really just chasing after that boat speed. Katie O'Donnell there in the stroke seat, just really leading her bowman, Tiernan O'Donnell. Just such an aggressive and dynamic stroke between those two, and not really making up the ground that they're going to need to catch this Dutch crew, because look, they're just so smooth. What experienced athletes we have here featuring in this B final of the PR2 mixed double. Hallmark of the Dutch crew, Dutch program is just to row really really long, super smooth, relaxed, looks easy all the time in Dutch boats, and Corne de Koning just really laying that down there. Really indicative of the philosophy of the Dutch team in that PR2 mixed double combination. This Irish boat though, just so dynamic, aren't they? Look at her just really just getting the body on there in the stroke seat. Just amazing power and dynamism there in that combination. Yeah, Katie O'Brien qualified this boat for Ireland. 5th place finish at the World Champs with Stephen McGowan. Tiernan O'Donnell has come into the bow seat there, the 25-year-old from Limerick, also a bronze medalist in wheelchair basketball at the European Champs for Team Ireland. And off the back, Turkey and Merchant Shen, who's 45 from Izmir, and indeed Yigit Bozkurt right at the other end of the scale. We'll be seeing him in Paralympic regattas for sure in years to come. Only turned 18 last month, Yigit. Here's the picture at the K. The Netherlands 4:18.25 still have the lead over the Irish. They've just upped it a little. Just over 4 seconds ahead of the Irish at 500, Loos and Konig, and now the gap is 5.5 at the K. So not an uncommon story in these double combinations that we see kind of throughout the Paralympic fields, both in the PR2 double and the PR3 double. But Katie O'Brien is actually the one who recruited Tiernan O'Donnell to come and row with her. She found him, gave him a call and said, hey, do you want to come row the double with me? I think you'd be really great. We could go to the Paralympics. He said, sure, let me finish my school studies first, wrap that up, and then came and gave it his all for rowing training. Here he is, not long after, debuting at the Paralympic Games. Yeah, that's what it's all about. They're rowing here with van der Loos and Corne de Koning, Netherlands, who had their most successful summer rowing regatta
ever. Just a few short weeks ago on this course. Absolutely crazy to think they'd ever won more than a single gold medal at their one games, and took home 4 golds on this nautical racetrack. 8 medals in total, same as the Brits and GB, gunning for medals in our A finals, which come out a little bit later on this programme.
Well, the story in this Dutch boat, I think, is just such a cool representation of the Paralympic spirit and teamwork and care for your teammates. After this boat got qualified last year for the Paralympic Games, and Corna's doubles partner moved on to another sport, it was Esther's decision to come back into the boat and make sure that this boat did make an appearance at the Paralympics, and that Corna got a chance to come down and defend his Paralympic medal experience in this boat. Without her coming back into the boat, they might not have had a chance to even bring this boat here and race it. So big on her to come and step into the boat with not a lot of preparation to get ready for the games. That's a really big deal.
1500 meter marker sees Loos and Koenig still ahead. And yeah, the gap's increased just a little further as well over O'Donnell and O'Brien, who are all set to come in here in second place in this B final. 36 strokes a minute here for Loos and Koenig, the boat travelling at around about 14 kilometres an hour, just an indication of the raw power and speed that can be generated if both of these scullers are in perfect synchronicity and finding that rhythm. And there's been no issue on that front for Esther van der Loos and Corne de Koning in this race. There we see the ticker. The racetrack is running out. They're going to be coming into the final 300 metres here.
Yeah, Katie O'Brien's got her pain face on. That's exactly what you want if you have someone sitting in the stroke seat, someone who is just going to be tough as nails and absolutely never quit. There she is, just driving the boat on in the second place position, chasing down this Dutch boat that's been leading for the majority of the track. But the Irish boat not giving up yet. They're going to be chasing all the way down the track into the red buoys. There they are, just swinging along now. Really nice job in this Irish combination in their Paralympic debut. Locking up that second place position in this Paralympic B final. It does look like the Dutch are going to wind it up here, maybe just up the stroke rate a little bit as we're coming through the last 250 meters.
Well, Corne de Koning with that silver medal performance in Tokyo with Anneke van der Meer. That's the only para-rowing medal the Netherlands have won, going back to 2008 when this sport was put on the programme. And no medal performance this time around for the Netherlands, but in charge here from wire to wire in the B final of the PR2 mixed double at Paris 2024, and a great finish as well from O'Donnell and O'Brien, coming in 8th place, but it's finishes 7th for Loos and Koenig, 8th for Ireland, and I'm sure we'll whip up the racetrack to catch Sen and Boschke coming home as well for Turkey in 3rd place in this B final.
Well, dominant performance from our experienced Paralympic athletes, Corne de Koning and Esther van der Loos. Never really in doubt for them coming down the track in this B final, but chased hard by that dynamic Irish duo. I really hope that we see more of Katie O'Brien and Tiernan O'Donnell in the future, because wow, what a combo that is.
And I'm sure we'll be seeing Sen and Jigit Boschke again. Certainly Boschke, who's the younger of the two. Great finish for them, an important 2 finish as well in their first big international regatta. The Turkish pairing, Turkish delight, if you will, here with the finish of 9th in the PR2 mixed double at the Paris 2024 Paralympic Games. Loos and Koenig, O'Donnell and O'Brien, and then Sen and Boschke are 1, 2 and 3 in this petit finale in the PR2 mixed double.
Yeah, those Turkish athletes are spent, aren't they? That was everything for them to just get down the track and give it 100% effort in their Paralympic debut in this final. Here they are, B final winners. and this young Irish duo. Good turn up from them. There they are. All right now, sitting up, getting the air in. Yeah, here we go. A little bit slow off the line here, this Irish boat. Lost a couple seats just on that first stroke alone. That'll be a note for next season, I think. But the Dutch crew just capitalized on that, took advantage, off they go. Out to a lead early on, just striding right out. Lots of experience, lots of chemistry in this Dutch boat, just carried them through the majority of this race. Maybe thinking that they ought to ended up in the A final in this Dutch boat, but here they are. They capitalized on this opportunity in the B final. Big win for them over these young challengers in this Irish combination. Katie O'Brien, Tiernan O'Donnell. Bright future ahead for those guys. And our Turkish duo.
Yeah, and just a reminder that we'll be seeing the gold medal race in this boat class a little later. And what a race it's going to be. Who can throw down a challenge to Rouse and Stevenson? Got the Ukrainians, the Poles, the Chinese, the Israelis, and the French, Davier and Bouge, in that race. Can't wait.
There he is. Out of the boat, onto the dock. Time for recovery. Hugs. And the Oompa band.
Quite the story, isn't it? The re-teaming up of these two after an 8-year gap. And we'll be seeing these two again for sure.
Yeah. Oh, it's good.
She's got a beaming smile.
Got a big smile. That's just great. Yeah, I can't emphasize enough how much respect I send out to Esther van der Loos coming into the boat. You know, you shift your priorities. You're focused on coaching. You're focused on being the team manager and being off the water, and then get the call. It's time to be on the water again. Maybe when she thought she'd already raced her last 2K, yeah. Facing another one is pretty daunting. So big credit to her.
Yeah, 100%. It's a Paralympic final win, a B final, albeit, but that's no mean feat. Netherlands from Ireland, from Turkey. They got boats qualified for the summer regatta from the Istanbul clubs, the Turks. There they are. They knew the cameraman was going to pick them out sooner or later.
We've been waiting. There they are. Still smiling.
A memorable week for Katie. She's had a birthday this week. Yeah. Time for recovery for the Irish crew. And the Dutch certainly enjoyed that. Well, we're next going to see the PR3 mixed doubles. The Aussies, well represented in the stands. They're one of the big gold medal favourites with Ayers and Altschwager. It's another of our mouth-watering six-boat final matchups. deeper in the day here at Versailles, as those flags are waved and general frolics and frivolity in the grandstands here. Great to see.
Still going to be looking for that Alexis Sanchez group with the big face. There's actually a couple of those floating around. I don't think it's just him. I think there's a couple of people who invested in those.
Yep.
I'm sure they wouldn't miss final six.
No.
They must be here somewhere.
They will be. They will be. So yeah, the French absolutely loving it. Union Jacks flickering. Britain with this fabulous gold medal record in para rowing. Wales has never won a gold for silvers. 3 of them for Eric Horry, who goes again for another medal in the single. It's our debut boat division, the PR3 mixed double, which has been added to the para rowing program here in Paris. Whoever raced first and won that first qualifying heat was going to set the Paralympic Games best time. The honour went to Zanelt Schwager. He did it in 7:11.30, and
yeah,
want to replicate with a gold medal performance when it comes to the A final.
Yeah, not quite a world's best in this event. We saw so many of those fall on the first day of racing, but still a pretty quick time, just a couple seconds outside of world's best for this PR3 Paralympic best time.
Africa, Asia, and the Americas in this B final: Egypt, India, USA, Mexico, and Thailand.
Unlikely that we're going to see any Paralympic best times set today with the conditions the way they are, unless we have a shift.
African qualifying winners: Ali El-Zini, Marina Abdelal, the armed forces athletes from Egypt. 9th at the World Champs. Asia Oceania qualifying winners: Anita and Narayana Konganpale, again from the army in India. World Champs silver medalist, that was Todd Vogt with Gemma Wallenschlager. Sage Harper is in the American PR3 mixed double here. Perhaps a little disappointed not to make the A final. The Americans side by side with Mexico, Miguel Angel Nieto, Angelis Gutierrez, America's qualifying winners. It was Liliana Flores and Pablo Lemus in that boat, and the ties in this race as well: Chintana Chuisa and Poromin Pong Am Tipayakul, invitation boat here to compete in the PR3 mixed double for the first time at the Paralympic Games. Asian Para Games bronze, the ties.
There they are, probably the favorites for this race, this B final. A little more experience in this American boat than we're going to see in some of these other crews. And probably, as you said earlier, fueled by a little bit of disappointment after not advancing into the A final, coming off of a medal performance at the World Championships last year. But it's an opportunity.
Egypt, India, USA, Mexico, Thailand. Attention.
Red light.
So a little bit of history here in terms of the Paralympic Games. This is the first final. It is the B final in the PR3 mixed double. This brand new boat division at the Para Games. We have El-Zini and Abdelal of Egypt, Anita and Narayana of India, Harper and Vogt of the United States, Nieto and Gutierrez of Mexico, Chuisa and Pongam to Payakul of Thailand. Harper and Vogt. Lane 3, look at that, out like a train.
Yeah, that's a blazing start from the Americans. Definitely, I'd say, out with a point to prove after maybe a little bit of disappointment yesterday. Todd Vogt is doing a great job just to set the rhythm and get them up and going out of the blocks. Big lead for them. Looks like they've already opened up open water over the next closest boat from India, just off to their left. But probably they're going to be thinking about lengthening out and getting into their base rhythm here as we're crossing over the 250-meter mark.
Yeah, Sage Harper and Todd Vogt. Vogt, who turned 50 this para rowing week. So a milestone moment for Todd Vogt from Portland, Oregon, in this boat with Sage Harper replacing Gemma Wallenschlager. They had a couple of silver medals at the World Champs in Belgrade a year ago, but it's not quite worked out that way here for the United States on the waters of Versailles, northeast of Paris. But they're all set here for a Paralympic B final win here in the PR3 mixed double. They have ripped into the lead, Harper and Vogt.
Yeah, Todd has the great honor of being the oldest athlete on the American squad here in Paris. So many of the athletes representing the U.S. are just so young, just coming out of college or still in university, even back home. A lot of them had to either take some time off from school or finish up their spring semesters before they could come together as a team in order to train and prepare for Paris 2024. But Todd's been out of university for a little bit of time now. And with that age, I think, comes some responsibility and some leadership on the USA squad. Here he is, opening up that bigger lead now that we're seeing between the American boat and the Indian boat, the next closest challengers here in this B final of the PR3 mixed double.
Yeah, in the mixed Coxed 4, that's where the United States have a medal hope in an A final coming up later with the Gemma Wallenschlager in that boat, who was in this boat at the World Champs last year with Vogt. So they've tweaked it a little bit in terms of just swapping around crew members. 152 full 6 at the 500 marker for Harper and Vogt, and a lead of almost 5 seconds over Anita and Narayana, and a little bit of drift by the looks of things out there.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to want to see some steering corrections happening in this. Oh yeah, where we get the overhead shot. They got real close to dancing with those starboard buoys in the Indian boat, but corrected now, back on course. Will cost them a little bit of time, because anytime you're not going straight down the lane, that's some extra time added to your race. But here we are. Not going to impact the Americans out in front here. Sage Harper in the bow, coming out of Sacred Heart University in Fairfield, Connecticut. I know she's just such an integral part of that team. And her whole team is very proud to have her here.
Going great. Harper and Vogt here. They're coming up to the mid-race point, the K, the 1,000-meter marker. All of these the para rowing races over 2K. It was over 1,000, wasn't it, up until Tokyo? So they just brought it up to parity with the rowers in the summer regatta, and now, of course, it's going to be cut down again to 1,500. So we're told when we get to LA in 4 years' time. But the 2K racing is what this is all about here on the waters at Versailles, northeast of Paris. We're closer to the Euro Disney than we are to the Eiffel Tower, where this splendid nautical venue is, the first of the Olympic and Paralympic venues to be unveiled. It's been operational since 2019, this wonderful stadium, and it's been a magnificent host venue for the summer and Paralympic rowing.
Look
and
at the effort here
events.
in the Mexican boat. Wow. This is a dynamic effort if I have seen one. Definitely ripping at it here in the Mexican boat. Definitely not taking the foot off the gas.
Well, at the 1,000, they were 10 seconds down on the Indians. So Mexico want to get up into the top 2 positions. I don't think anyone can hold a torch here to the United States, by the way.
Yeah, rowing down the course at a 42 is definitely an effort that is to be applauded and respected, because that's not an easy pace to sustain in this double. But Mexico's doing it, mounting a challenge here as we're coming through the middle of the course, trying to take out their next closest competitors, see what they can manage here as we're coming through the third 500.
Significantly higher strike rate than anyone else out on the water. The Mexicans now at 43. nearest crew. That's well, the Egyptians trying to lift it as well with El Tiani and Abdelal. These boats travelling at around about 14 kilometres an hour out on the water right now. It is still Sage Harper and Todd Vogt bringing it in for Team USA, who are in the lead in this PR3 mixed double sculls B final.
Yeah, message being sent here from the American boat as we're crossing over this last 500-meter mark. Big margin between themselves and the rest of this field on their way storming to victory here in this B final.
Yeah, 4.67 up at 500, 11 seconds ahead of the Indians at the K, and have upped it significantly as well to the best part of a 20-second advantage over Anita and Narayana with 500 metres to go. But contributing to this world rowing and the summer and Paralympic ideal of universality, getting boats from all continents into this PR3 mixed double Paralympic competition. And the United States with Harper and Vogt all set to claim the win here and 7th place in the B final.
Yeah, looking pretty smooth and relaxed out there in front. That's the luxury afforded when you set yourself up with a margin like this. Sage Harper and Todd Vogt just rowing out really far in front, just watching the rest of the race unfold behind them. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, these two became the first rowers representing India to win a medal at the Asian Para Games as silver in the mixed PR3 double. This event indeed 2022 in Hangzhou. As Asian Games actually held in 2023 because of all the COVID complications lingering in China. USA still leading, and that's not going to change as the racetrack runs out here. We're into the final 100 metres.
Now we can see Sage just looking for the finish line. Not uncommon just to take a look and be ready for the end to come when we're inside the red buoys, to see how much distance, how many strokes you might have left, because it is going to be just burning like nothing else as we get to the end of this 2K. Sage just taking a look there. It's coming, girl. You're almost there.
Here we go. Harper and Vogt taking the win in the Petit Finale B final. They finished 7th. The United States in the PR3 mixed double sculls at Paris 2024. Anita and Narayana, the next finishers. That's respectable from the Indians, the armed forces athletes who are 9th at the world champs. They're going to come in for a close of 8th place. And a little bit further down the order, it's Mexico. Couldn't sustain that challenge to get closer to the Indians. Nieto and Gutierrez. Yeah. Everything out there. Elziani, Abdelal, Egypt.
It's going to come down to the wire between these two.
Wow, that was close in the end between the Egyptians and the Thais. Elziani and Abdelal just had it over Chiwasat there, and Pangam Tipayakul. Well played there, Ali Elziani and Marina Abdelal, who finish around about a minute outside that American time. And Thailand finish in 11th place in the PR3 mixed double.
There they are, race winners. Just some congratulations there from Bao Woman Sage Harper to all of her competitors. Yeah, it might take a minute for our Mexican crew to recover from that effort. That was an absolutely punishing pace being laid down by Angeles Gutierrez Vieira.
Well, the Mexicans, I believe, wearing your favourite
fashionistas
kit that you've seen here.
That's right, the fashionistas of this Paralympic regatta, by far the coolest unis out on the lake. But here they are, out early, sending a message basically from stroke one here in this American crew. India pretty handily in that second place position in this B final, but not able to challenge the Americans who led really wire to wire in this B final. The most combatif for sure in this race, this Mexican crew, cruising down the course over 40 strokes a minute, which is just really impressive.
Finished third in the end there. Nieto and Gutierrez. So 30 seconds behind Harper and Vogt, who took the win.
Job done. Back to the dock. And the shaka from the man from Portland, Team Grandpa, Todd Vogt.
Yeah, with Sage Harper winning the B final in the PR3 mixed double, ahead of India, Mexico third, Egypt fourth, Thailand fifth. Well, the crowd just getting a little bit louder and a little bit more excited in readiness for the gold medal races. We've got one more B final to come. And then it'll be into the A finals. The next race on the programme, the B final in another PR3 classification race, the mixed Coxed 4, which has heritage going all the way back to 2008 and the Beijing Para Games, when rowing was first added. Kissing the badge.
Big smile from Sage Harper. And that's a nice smile too from our stroke woman of the Egyptian double.
I love it, Olympic. I love it. Habibi. Habib Elvi. Good race. What? I love it, Olympic. I love it.
Well, that says it all, doesn't it?
Alhamdulillah. Hey, I love it, Mohammed Salah.
Well, it's breaking new ground. Egypt are one of the new nations with a boat in the para rowing. Likewise, the Thais.
These are such great pictures, reaction pictures near the recovery dock. The pressure's off, the effort's over, and so now it's just time to enjoy the sun and enjoy the rest of the Paralympic experience.
Going back to your Olympic experiences, Megan, of which there were plenty at 4 games after the racing was done, and you have a little bit of time and space to enjoy the rest of the games and the rest of the cities you were in.
I did. The rowing competitors are so lucky, I think, to have their games sort of front-loaded. You get to get your competition kind of in while you're fresh. You've just arrived. You don't have to spend a lot of time waiting around for the pressure to build and getting nervous or letting the nerves come up. You get your competition done in the first week, like these guys, in the first couple of days of the Paralympics. And then the rest of the games are just there for however you want to spend them, whether you want to go see some other events or do some sightseeing, maybe spend some time with your friends or your family if they've come over to support you. It's just really a great setup for the rowing competitors. I think very, very lucky that they get to enjoy really both aspects of the games to the fullest. Maybe we have a dual citizen there. She's waving a couple of flags.
Might well be. Can't quite make out what that one on my left was. Well, is this the Scarstein fan club?
It has to be. Big hopes in the Norwegian fan base.
Yeah, but the Olympic gold medal that Birgit won in Tokyo is coming under severe threat this time round. These A finals are all set up so perfectly. They're going to be so competitive. I mean, you mentioned it a little earlier, Megan, some of the margins of victory that we saw 3 years ago on the Sea Forest Waterway, absolutely huge. It weren't the closest A-final races we've ever seen.
Decisive.
I suspect that won't be the case here today.
No, I think the landscape of these events has changed over this Paralympic cycle to the point where we have a lot of different contenders in our PR1 events in particular. So many of these competitors have been trading blows over the cycle over the past several years. Just no one except maybe Skarstein and Polianski has been really consistent, and even they haven't gone unbeaten. So it's going to be really interesting to see who rises to the occasion today on finals day at the Paralympic Regatta.
We're whipping back up to the starting gates here for the B final of the mixed Cox 4 for athletes with a PR3 classification. So 10 entries in this boat division. Italy won the first gold medal in 2008. Since then, it's been Britain all the way. The world best slash Paralympic Games best time holders, 6:43, 6:8. One of the Paralympic Games best time set here on the waters of Versailles. Positions 7, 8, 9 and 10 to be decided in this boat division. Korea, China, Brazil and Spain in the race. Second at the Asian Para Games, first time qualified for the Paralympic Games, the Korean quartet of Choi Kang-bae Lee, Coxed by Seo Hak-young. Sixth at the World Champs. Koreans were behind China in Hangzhou a year ago. Wang Shishi, Zhang Wanbin, Wu Yunglong, Zhang Lingtao, Coxed by 44-year-old Yu Li. The best the Brazilians have ever done in this boat division was a B final win in Beijing all the way back in 2008. Priscila Barreto de Souza, Alina Dimash, Gabriela Mendes de Souza, Eric de Silva with Juscelino de Silva coxing this 4 again. And 11th in Tokyo, 9th at the Worlds. Josefa Benitez, who had a Paralympic birthday, turned 55 on the 30th of August with Veronica Pulido. Those two are returning from Tokyo in the boat. Also here, Sol Peña and Dani Diaz. Leonor Garcia is the coxswain of the Spanish 4.
Yeah, of course, this is the only event of our 5 events on the menu that have coxswains. The athletes who are going to be either, well, in this race, they're going to be either in the bow or just the Korean boat. The coxswain is going to be sitting up in the stern there.
Korea, China, Brazil, Spain. Attention.
Red light.
This is the 5th and last B final on finals day here at Paris 2024 and the Para Rowing Regatta. We have Korea, China, Brazil and Spain gunning for a best possible finish of 7th place in the PR3 mixed Coxed fours. The two boats in the middle lanes there, China and Brazil, who got out the quickest.
Yeah, it looked like it was maybe just a little washy in the Chinese boat, but it hasn't slowed them down, and they are going right with Brazil, just toe-to-toe there in those two middle lanes. China v. Brazil off the line. It does look like maybe they're already starting to drop the two outside crews, Korea and Spain, almost out to a whole boat length here inside this first 250 meters.
China just with the edge then on the Brazilians. Finished 6th at last year's World Champs, enough to book China a spot in this Paralympic Games competition. Cox Liu and Yin Long Wu both made their international debuts at the World Champs all the way back in 2011 before being in the boat. They finished 4th and beaten Dorney in London a year later. And they've been joined by Tao, Wanbin and Wang Shishi to form this particular crew. And again, those rowers coming in from China, it's a little difficult to get into Europe for some of the World Cup events, so an unknown quantity in many respects, but have the lead in this B final over the Brazilians, who came into Paris via the final Paralympic qualification regatta, coming up to the 500. All that power in the Chinese boat just has them leading by 1.74 over Brazil at quarter race distance. Then it's Korea, and then it's Spain.
Yeah, Brazil just has such a strong tradition in Paralympic rowing. It was maybe a little bit of a surprise to see this Brazilian crew come through that final Paralympic qualification regatta earlier this year, but here they are, they've managed it. They snagged that 2nd spot in Lucerne behind Italy. The Italians did find a way to manage to get into the A final in this event in the PR3 mixed Coxed 4. So we'll see them featuring later on in the program. But here we are, another shot of the other two boats in this race, bringing up positions 3 and 4. We have Korea at the top of the picture and the Spaniards there at the bottom. But now featuring on the right of your screen here as we switch to this overhead shot. Oh boy, a little bit of steering there in the Brazilian boat. Again, just getting a little close to those buoys. We've seen that happen a little bit more today in these B finals than we've seen so far throughout the regatta, so maybe just a little bit of conditions. I'm imagining maybe there's a little bit of sun and some glare for these coxswains as well, because they all have their sunglasses and their hats on. It can be challenging when the sun is shining bright and reflecting off the water, in particular if there's a little bit of reflection or movement texture to the water. If the sun's very bright, it can be challenging to see these buoys, especially when they're yellow. So glad to see the Brazilians are back on track in the lane there, away from those buoys. Got to keep those blades clear of those.
Second place, Brazil, steered by Juscelino da Silva. First Coxed internationally way back 2000. Nations Cup in Denmark, involved in the Tokyo Paralympics as part of a Brazil 4 that were 4th in this B final. Marina Dumas, fresh to the international circuit earlier this year in 2024. And Gabriel Mendes de Souza and Priscila Barreto de Souza raced in the PR3 men's pair, PR3 mixed double at World Cup Rowing 2 last year. So just a lot of switching around of athletes in between the various boat classes. And of course, when we get to World Champs, we have a lot more boat classes, don't we? And a lot more potential for athletes to get out on the water.
Yeah, World Championships, no entry limit, so we can have as many countries as they'd like to enter. And there are definitely more para-rowing events available at the World Championships, of course, meaning events that are not contested here at the Paralympic Games, but are at the World Championship level. So potentially some of these athletes racing or spending some time in some of those other events, maybe in the pairs, for example, or some of the PR2 singles, things like that, that haven't made their way onto the Paralympic program to date. But you mentioned the coxswain in the Brazilian boat here, the only member of this crew with any Paralympic experience. So that's such an interesting dynamic in a team, having just the coxswain with the experience, because the coxswain really rides that line between athlete and coach. They really have to have the skill set of both of those roles when they're out on the water, because once these athletes leave the dock, they don't have any contact with any of their staff or their coach or any other support members of their team. So it is that coxswain that has such an important role once these athletes are out and underway.
China led the Brazilians by a second and 3/4 at the 500 mark. They were up to almost 5 seconds ahead at the K. And now we're at the 1500, so 500 meters to go, and it is still China. It's clocking in at 5:32.78, and that lead now up to nearly 7.5 seconds. The Brazilians in the second place. Spain keeping in touch there with the Koreans in this fight for third place in this B final in the PR3 mixed Cox 4.
Yeah, it does look like these margins have opened enough between our first and second places, China and Brazil, that those positions 7 and 8 might be locked up, but as you said, quite a contest that we're going to see at the back of the field between our boats from Korea and Spain for those critical last 2 places in this B final. Nice shot of the Chinese crew here. Great synchronicity in these 4 athletes. Strokesy Jiang Lingao not laying off at all, just keeping the pedal to the metal here, but being chased hard by this Brazilian crew. They're not going to give an inch here as we're coming through the last 500 meters into the last 250. Brazil's going to want to just keep working at that margin and see if they can just eat back into that Chinese lead over these last few strokes of rowing in this B final.
China have 3 gold medals down the years in para rowing, the same number as Ukraine, 5 behind Great Britain's tally of 8 golds. There's no medal in this race, but still it's 7th place, and it is a Paralympic final win for China in this B final. So PR3 mixed Cox 4, 7th place for China.
They're going to take the rate right up here in the Chinese boat and just swing it right across the line here. It does look like Brazil is actually managing to eat back into that margin, but it's not going to be enough. A little bit too late there in the Brazilian boat.
Yeah, the Brazilians come in second in this race, 8th overall. China's time 7:25.01. Coming through that finishing tape there, and heck of a finish from Spain. Wow, look at that, finishing ahead of the Koreans with a dramatic sprint there to avoid the wooden spoon in this boat class. It's Korea who drop into last place all in. The Asian para champs, China, Wang, Zhengwu and Zhang, then leading this 4-boat field home. Brazil in second, Spain with that finish to just get their noses ahead of Korea at the finish line.
Yeah, perfectly timed by the Spanish boat just to sneak in there right at the line. But count it. We got the speed in when it mattered, and we're able to pip the Koreans just right at the end.
So the crew's coming into dock then. Totally spent. China's success in that race never in doubt. There is tend to hone in on the middle lane crews. There you go. China 2 on the bow. So straight out quickly and held that lead. Power in that boat from the Chinese. We got a medal in this boat division, and still not, but still the final win not to be sneezed at. That concludes our B finals in our 5 boat divisions. Next, gold medal racing. Yu Li there, the Chinese coxswain, did his bit. China, Brazil, Spain and Korea 1, 2, 3 and 4 in the B final of the mixed Coxed 4.
Oh, the crowd is getting us ready now. Moving on to the A finals.
Yeah, this is where the hand of history beckons for our rowers. As the winning Chinese crew there from the mixed 4 back to the boathouse.
Good race. Hi, Brazil.
Koreans just didn't have the finish there. Edged out of it by Spain. But they're going to be cheering on Kim, who comes next in the gold medal race in the PR1 women's single.
They're going to need to hurry up and get that boat put away if they're going to go and cheer her on, because she's just about ready to head down the race course. And these guys as well to cheer on their teammate, Claudius dos Santos.
Yeah, indeed. And really another fabulous performance from Claudia dos Santos, making another final, by the way. She's been in every Paralympic Games final. Claudia dos Santos, the Brazilian, in the women's single. More of that in just a moment. No prizes for guessing who the lion's share of the support want to see come down quickest, and that is Nathalie Benoit. France, the only nation with entries in all 5 boat divisions, and they've got all of their competitors into the A finals as well. Could be quite some day here at Versailles for the host nation.
An absolutely huge achievement and such a big deal at a home games to have so many medal opportunities. No doubt the fans here have just such high hopes. We see so many of the French flags, French colors everywhere we look in the stands to support all of these athletes who are going to be searching for medals in these A finals that are upcoming.
There we go, the band strikes up again. That's the soundtrack to our A final racing. The Aussies have hopes in the mixed double. There's an Altschwager that is to come down a little later on.
Looks like an MIT supporter there. Massachusetts Institute of Technology represented here in the stands at Paris 2024.
Well, they would have enjoyed that finish from the Spaniards. In that last of the B finals. Paving the way now for the Glory Gold Medal races, and there'll be an extra race as well, of course, with this extra boat class being put onto the programme. We love that. That means another gold medal race, another final, and there's a big face.
Yeah,
now
who
then,
do we
who's
think
that?
that is?
Who is that, I wonder?
It's got to be a French
It has to be, doesn't
athlete.
it?
It's just a little too small for me to make it out.
Is that Natalie Benoit?
Gosh, it must be. That would make sense. The other fathead we've seen is the other French single, Alexis Sanchez, who I still don't see. Where can they be? But nonetheless, if Natalie's up first, it makes sense that we see her fathead there in the crowd.
This is going to be a fascinating final. The first of our gold medal races now in the PR1 women's single.
It is. I mean, coming into it, I think before racing started, we were looking at Birgit Skarstein of Norway as being the unquestioned favorite for this event. But after seeing how racing has unfolded over the past 2 days, we are suspecting that maybe she could be under threat here for the gold medal at the Paralympics.
100%. She didn't qualify directly from the heats. The Tokyo champion had to come through the repechage. I mean, okay, she bossed that, but there's significant threat to her crown coming from Morin Samuel, from Anna Cheremet, Benoit of France, Dos Santos and Kim from Brazil and Korea. Morin Samuel, 9:58.02, sub 10 minutes. That time set an explosive first day of heat racing in the PR1 women's single. This is our A final lineup. 8th in Rio, 7th in Tokyo, an historic first qualification for an A final for 48-year-old Kim Sejong, the 48-year-old from Guangzhou. She was silver at the Asian Para Games, but has ousted her Chinese rival for a spot in the A final. Tokyo bronze medalist, and that was bolted onto a silver medal performance in London for Natalie Benoit. Anna Cheremet, she took Birgit Skarstein in that stunning heat performance just off the podium in Tokyo, was 4th. The world champs bronze medalist Cheremet going for a medal at the 3rd straight games is Morin Samuel, the Paralympic Games best time holder, bronze in Rio, silver in Tokyo. Birgit Skarstein, the Olympic champion, 7 world championship titles, 4 European Championship golds, but she is vulnerable this year. And Claudia Dos Santos maintains this fantastic run of appearing in every single A final in the PR1 women's single, going all the way back to Beijing. 2nd in the repechage 1, lane 6 for Brazil. Cheremet and Samuel have the coveted middle lanes in 3 and 4.
Korea, France, Ukraine.
It all comes down to this, our first gold medal race at the Paris
Norway,
Para Rowing Regatta.
Brazil, attention.
Fasten those seatbelts, red to green. We have takeoff here in the PR1 women's singles sculls A final. Kim from Korea, Benoit from France, Cheremet from Ukraine, Samuel from Israel, the defending champion Skarstein from Norway, and Dos Santos of Brazil in lanes 1 to 6 respectively. This is wide open. Samuel has got out quickest.
Yeah, we have some fast starts in the middle of the course. Birgit Skarstein is going to want to make a statement early on here, but it is Morin Samuel of Israel who's gotten out the quickest, because she's out to just about 3/4 of a boat length. One of our heat winners and direct advancements into this A final. She's also going to be challenging here early on, just trying to get herself out and into a good position to defend all the way down the 2K.
Yeah, Samuel then heading for a boat length lead out of the traps quickest here. Fascinating progress from the Israeli sculler. 5th in London 2012, followed up by 3rd in Rio, and then that gradual progression up to 2nd spot on the podium and the silver in Tokyo, hunting the so far elusive gold, a bit like Natalie Benoit here. And Skarstein in lane 5, bottom of your picture. What, 3rd place at present long way to go. But Sculls has the world best time, 9:47.83. No one has finished this race ever in a quicker time than Sculls did on the Versailles Lake in June of 2023. But Sheremet is ahead of Sculls as she finished in the heats on day one.
Yeah, so Skarstein's probably going to want to just take a look here and just check the progress of the Ukrainian athlete Anna Sheremet, because they did have that showdown in the heat where Skarstein ended up on the wrong side of it. But Anna Sheremet here looking actually just a little more conservative than maybe I would have expected, given the way things went for her in the opening stages of the regatta. Just kind of happily sitting there in that second place position right now and not sensing a lot of urgency from her, while Morin Samuel just continues to row away from the field.
Yeah, Morin Samuel is in charge at the moment. So she won the first race full stop. The first heat in this para-rowing regatta was in this boat division, and Samuel came through the 500 in that time, 2:25.04 to set the pathway there for that Paralympic Games best time. So she's just outside that, actually, but it's a really quick race again from Morin Samuel from Israel.
Well, this is just the most experienced Paralympic PR1 women's field that we've ever seen. You know, amongst our competitors, we have 20 Paralympic teams between them. The Brazilian competitor, Claudia dos Santos, making up 5 of those just in her own experience. So many of these competitors just vastly experienced, having raced this boat class for such a long time, going maybe from even the 1K distance into this 2K distance now as we're contesting it here in Paris. Just so many races under their belts, so much time to get to know the event, get to know the race profiles of their competitors, and gauge their tactics and their strategies as they approach this final here. It does look like Birgit Skarstein just really still kind of stuck in that third place position, not making an impression on Anna Sheremet here. And it did look like, as we're tracking off to the left, Morin Samuel off picture at the moment, but just continuing to widen the gap between herself and second place Anna Sheremet of the Ukraine.
Well, Ukraine did win this gold medal in 2012 in London. Alisa Lysenko took the win ahead of Nathalie Benoit, who was second 12 years ago on Eton Dorney. And Morin Samuel will be keeping an eye on these split times as well, because she's just outside that Paralympic Games best time pace at the 500 marker, just a second outside it. The Birgit Skarstein, remember the sense of jeopardy here surrounding the Norwegian. The last time she didn't win a big international race meeting, the final of the Rio Paralympics, where she finished 4th. She has utterly dominated this class since. But how about this from Morin Samuel, this incremental development? She's been gradually taking another step up the podium, and it could be all the way to a glory gold medal performance this time round in Paris 2024. The Paralympic Games best time holder is bossing the A final.
What a dominant statement here from Morin Samuel of Israel in this opening 1K of this race. She's looking a little untouchable to me, honestly, as we get up to the middle of the race course, because she's put so much distance between herself and Anna Sheremet and Birgit Skarstein. And up on the top of your picture at the moment, Nathalie Benoit of France, that I'm not sure that anyone is going to be able to reel her in the closing 1K of this race, because look at that gap. It's just continuing to grow between Morin Samuel and the rest of the field.
A little bit slower second 500 than her heat time, so Paralympic Games best time is perhaps a little out of reach now at the 1K mark. But first things first, just come over the line first, and that is what Morin Samuel is focusing on. She's up the lead as well over Anna Sheremet. 3:89 was the gap between 1 and 2 at the 500. It's up to just over 7.5 seconds now, and Skarstein 2 seconds behind Sheremet, so holding on to a podium place. But she's going to have to do something absolutely miraculous over the second half of this race, and I'm not quite sure she's got it in her. Skarstein. Benoit is off the podium at present, then it's Kim, then it's Dos Santos of Brazil.
At this stage, I'm not sure that anyone, no matter how miraculous their effort, is going to be able to overcome this margin, because Morin Samuel has absolutely destroyed the field this third 500 is really working for her. She's just opening up a bigger and bigger gap all the time. It did look like Birgit Skarstein was starting to make an impression on Anna Sharamet, just getting a little more overlap between herself and the second place crew. Natalie Benoit just holding on to maybe bow to stern on Birgit Skarstein, but she is still out of the medals, and I'm not sure that she's going to be able to find the speed that she's going to need to butt onto the podium here. That French athlete that we have such high hopes for. We actually heard yesterday that she has announced her retirement. This is going to be Natalie Benoit's final international appearance here at the home games, Paris 2024 Paralympics, for her after such a long and wonderful career in this PR1 women's single. High hopes for her to break onto the podium again, but it does look like it's going to be just out of reach here as we're coming through the middle of the race and coming up to the finish line in this PR1.
Yeah, Benoit, nearest challenger is Skarstein for that bronze medal position at the moment. The silver medal finisher from London, the bronze medal finisher from 3 years ago at the Sea Forest Waterway. Now then, Samuel has bossed the medals table as far as para-rowing is concerned for the nation of Israel. 3 medals in total. And Samuel has 2 of those with silver and bronze. The only other Israeli para-rower to get on the podium was the men's single finisher, Eli Nawe, won a bronze in 2008. Now then, the battle for second right now is Skarstein coming up to the bow of Sharamet. This is where the cream rises to the top for Birgit Skarstein. She's not going to win the gold, but it could be a silver. And with 500 to go, there is absolutely no one anywhere near Morin Samuel of Israel.
And let's not underestimate the power of the home field advantage for this sculler from France. Natalie Benoit on the top of your picture right now, just continuing to creep back up on world champion, European champion, and Paralympic champion, defending athlete Birgit Skarstein. It does look like she's just stalled a little bit as Benoit is continuing to make progress in this last 500 meters of the race. Anna Sharamet maybe just has done enough to get herself out in front and might be out of reach for these 2 athletes, but I think the race for bronze is all on between Benoit and Skarstein.
Yeah, so does Benoit have the sprint inside her? She'll have that extra help from the roar of the crowds. It is Samuel, Sharamet, Skarstein, Benoit just outside of the medals. Then it's Kim and Dos Santos off the back. There's Sharamet just digging into all those reserves of energy and stamina to keep second place. It looks like she's got it for Ukraine. She had the besting of Skarstein in the heats, but here comes the Norwegian, and Benoit is upping the stroke rate as well.
This is really going to come down to the line here because Natalie Benoit is absolutely on the move. What a huge move we've seen from her over the last few meters just to eat back into the lead that the Norwegian has had. That third position, Birgit Skarstein has been working so hard to overhaul this Ukrainian athlete, Anna Sharamet. But Natalie Benoit is on the move. She's got the support of the grandstands as they're coming down to the last 250 meters inside the red buoys. And Birgit Skarstein, where has she found this move from? She's absolutely walked through Anna Sharamet in the last few strokes. And Natalie Benoit is on the move on the other side of the Ukrainian athlete as well.
This could be a heck of a finish for Benoit if she can come past Sharamet. Skarstein has come through into the silver medal position. And Sharamet is fading badly. What a finish here from Natalie Benoit to get on the podium as the racetrack runs out. The Morin Samuel wire-to-wire win. How about this full progression from the Israeli? It was a bronze in Rio, up to silver in Tokyo, and a gold medal now for Morin Samuel, Paris 2024. It is Benoit coming through for one heck of a finish. We know the Israeli is going to win it. It's Israel's first gold in para-rowing. It's going to be Morin Samuel, and what a finish from Natalie Benoit. Huge drama in her last international race. She's coming up there and wants a silver. Can she take down Skarstein? Samuel so impressive for the gold medal. On the podium and top spot for the 3rd games in a row.
We're shaping up for
Benoit?
a photo finish, possibly. It's just going to be Skarstein on the surge there. The last few strokes for the Norwegian served her. Huge fight through the middle of the course there for those last 2 medals. Anna Sharamet in control for so long, and then the experience of Benoit and Skarstein just showed, didn't it? And off they went with those last 2 podium positions. But here it is, your Paralympic champion in the PR1 women's single. on the trajectory for the last several Paralympics, silver in Tokyo, and now it's gold for Morin Samuel. And well, the legend of French para-rowing, Nathalie Benoit, signs off her career with a fantastic bronze medal here.
What a finish from Nathalie Benoit. That was sensational.
Look at this finish margin there between Birgit Skarstein and Nathalie Benoit of France, just 4/100ths of a second there, deciding those last two medals.
It's Benoit with another bronze, but Samuel and Skarstein have switched it around from the podium finish from Tokyo. This time it's the Israeli top of the pack. The Skarstein finishes second, in that 8-year unbeaten run in major competitions has been exploded for Skarstein by Morin Samuel. And it's another terrific finish in a Paralympic final for Claudia dos Santos. 6th in Beijing, 4th London, 6th in Rio, 6th in Tokyo, and 6th in Paris here for the 47-year-old from Sao Paulo. What a wonderful Paralympic career for Claudia. He gets another finish here and roared home. What a fantastic race. Shame for Sheremet, she just didn't have the finish, did she?
Well, she had such a brave effort early on to just get out and put herself in a position to challenge, which she absolutely did. But man, it really just came down to just having those miles, those meters, those memories of all the times that these athletes have taken trips down the course, and Skarstein and Benoit just were able to capitalize on all of that. There's a little smile there from our silver medalist. Oh, well. And from our grandmother of French para-rowing. Such a long and wonderful career here for Nathalie Benoit, capped off by one more trip to the podium.
What a way to sign off, yeah. Sensational from Benoit. That really was something. But Samuel, look at this progression, you mentioned it. Bronze, up to silver, up to gold in successive Paralympic Games. And the complete para-rower by the looks of things now, taking down Birgit Samuel. Never in doubt, she was in control wire to wire there.
Yeah, huge statement in the opening meters here from Morin Samuel, just taking that momentum that she built from her win in the heats and a direct advancement into that center lane for this A final a couple of days ago. Got out, stamped her name on it, didn't look back, left everyone else to scrap for those silver and bronze medals. But look at this huge turn of speed that we saw from Nathalie Benoit coming through the last 500 meters. Anna Sheremet just didn't have what she needed in the tank in order to fend off these charges from these super experienced athletes. Nathalie Benoit of France for the bronze, and Birgit Skarstein with a super turn of speed in the closing 250 meters of the race to overhaul the Ukrainian athlete. Disappointment again for Anna Sheremet, another 4th place finish for her at the Paralympics, but more experience for her to draw on next time around.
And we have a new nation on the top of the podium in para-rowing. It is Israel. Britain won this event in 2008 and 2016. Ukraine did it in 2012. Norway, Skarstein 2020. But now it is Morin Samuel with her 3rd Paralympic medal, first gold. Already it's broken new ground, first Israeli para-rower to win medals at the multiple Paralympics. And here she is at 42 with the pinnacle moment, a gold win. And that's a lovely moment for Birgit Skarstein, the Olympic champion. Downgrades, if we can call it that, to the silver medal. The 1 and 2 have switched around from Tokyo.
Still a smile, though. A trip to the podium is always welcome here at the Paralympics. And given that she's had some struggles with her preparation and maybe being a little bit off her pace, I think getting onto the podium is going to be a good result, good outcome. And no doubt, oh, happy tears there. Seeing her good friend Morin Samuel up on top of the podium for the first time. I'm sure she'll be there to support her and share that moment with her and share the happiness for her friend.
Israel wins the gold medal thanks to Morin Samuel in the PR1 women's single. Skarstein, the Tokyo champion, has a silver 3 years on here in Paris. Benoit again has a bronze. And we can add that to the silver she won all the way back at Eton Dorney in 2012. What a finish. But as you mentioned there, Sheremet for the second games in a row finishes just off the podium. It looked like she had it. The Sheremet, a medal in her grasp, but he reckoned without the pickpocketing skills of Benoit on the line. What a way to sign off and out.
And look at these grandstands, such enthusiasm and support out at Versailles for our A finals at this Paralympic rowing regatta. Absolutely jam-packed. And what a treat that was. Our first trip down the course for our medal rounds here at the Paralympic rowing regatta. Great racing in the PR1 women's single, with the men to come next.
Yeah, and Natalie Benoit just saying to Alexis Sanchez, no pressure. Gold medal race in the men's single. Ben Pritchard's going to be in the conversation to Roman Polianski's Paralympic crown. Paralympic Games best in the world, best time holders respectively there. Pritchard set that mark in this regatta in 8.5126. Goes in lane 4 here, up against the birthday boy, Roman Polianski. What a day it could be if he could do the three-peat, the Ukrainian. On the very day he turns 38 years of age. Now then, dangerous outsider, no question. Giacomo Perini exploded onto the world stage in 2022 and has never finished lower than second whenever he's raced, the Italian. Eric Horry going for another medal at the last 3 the Paralympic Games. He's won the silver in this boat division. At the last 2 games, Roman Polianski has just simply been too good. Can he do the triple here? 5th in Tokyo, World Championships bronze medalist, but he's an even better para rower now. Ben Pritchard at 32 has to be in that conversation for the gold.
In lane 5 for Israel,
Shmuel Daniel in lane 5. The 39-year-old Israeli, again, can't be discounted. And the FPQR winner from France has that support behind him. Alexis Sanchez for the host nation in lane 6.
This is just such a super field. We have all of our experienced returning Paralympians in those center lanes and our 2 debutantes on the outside lanes.
Italy, Australia, Ukraine, Great Britain, Israel, France. Attention.
Away we go. This is going to be a terrific race. It is the A final. It is the gold medal race in the PR1 men's single sculls. Perini of Italy, Eric Horry, a 3-time silver medalist from Australia, Roman Polianski, the 2-time defending Paralympic champion, Ben Pritchard of Great Britain, Shmuel Daniel of Israel, and Alexis Sanchez of France. He's a quick starter, isn't he, Sanchez? He's got out really quickly, 4 on the bow of Ben Pritchard. What a start there. And Polianski, well, 3 on the bow, off the back, out of the traps, but, well, we'll wait for a surge from him.
Well, what we're seeing is really just the way this field has had to adapt to Roman Polianski. He's been so dominant in this field. Really, these athletes have figured out that the only way that they can challenge his dominance is to get out this fast. So we've seen an accommodation from a lot of these athletes racing this event. Ben Pritchard, Giacomo Perini, and Alexis Sanchez just employing this strategy of just blazing out of the blocks in order to try and challenge Roman Polyanski's base speed, because once he gets that boat up and running, it's really, really tough to beat him.
Well, how about this from Perini? This is such a name that's exploded onto the scene of para rowing at World Rowing Cup 2 in 2022. Never finished lower than second whenever he's raced. A pretty extraordinary record. He's carrying it all the way into the A final in the Paralympic Games. But Roman Polyanski, on his birthday, 7 medals at the Paralympic Games and World Championships. Gold Rio, gold Tokyo, world champion. That's the kind of record they're all up against here. But what about this from Pritchard? It is Pritchard versus Perini, GB versus Italy here in the opening stages of this Pier 1 men's single sculls A final. Well, Perini just edging into the lead.
We've seen these two athletes go head-to-head already once on the opening day of racing, where it was Giacomo Perini getting out to that really blazing start out of the blocks. But Ben Pritchard just pulled a huge sprint out of the back pocket in the closing meters of the race to overturn him and advance into this A final. Does look like it is going to be the Italian just across the line ahead of Ben Pritchard of Great Britain at the first 500-meter mark. Field is not really spreading out, but we just have a little bit of not quite a traditional chevron, do we? We have one of our outside lanes, Giacomo Perini, leading the field here.
Silver at both the 2022 and 2023 World Champs. Kicked off the 2024 season with a win at the Euros before being pushed back by Pritchard at World Rowing Cup 3. But he's done his homework, Perini, by the looks of things. And the Roman soldier is in the lead here in the A final of the PR1 men's single sculls.
Just as we might have expected, despite all of these fast starts from so many of these athletes in the field, Roman Polyanski is just burning through the field at the moment. Currently in the third place position behind Ben Pritchard, but making good progress here. The Ukrainian athlete's so experienced and just absolutely deadly with this base speed that he has in this PR1 men's single, and just moving along with Ben Pritchard, trying to overtake that second place position. And as they're doing so, just pushing themselves away from these trailing 3 boats. Alexis Sanchez there on the bottom of your screen for France, along with the Israeli athlete Shmuel Daniel there in the yellow boat, and up at the top of your picture, Eric Horry of Australia.
Got some work to do here, Horry, to get amongst the race leaders, looking for another medal. Silver, London, silver, Rio, silver in Tokyo for Eric Horry. It was a lovely interview with him as well at the end of his repechage race when, I mean, I think you called it with permission, rowing past Perini. Eric Horry, we were just having a laugh, mate. That's pretty much what he said. They knew they were going to go through from the repechage. Look at this, the battle at the front of the field. That is Perini and Pritchard, and not a million miles away, just out of shot to the right, will be Roman Polyanski.
Yeah, well, we just saw Giacomo Perini take a look over at Ben Pritchard, because for the first time earlier this season, Ben Pritchard overthrew the Italian at the World Cup in Poznan with maybe kind of a surprise performance. I'm not sure that Perini would have been expecting to see that huge sprint from Pritchard that overthrew him at that regatta a couple weeks ago. But now he knows that that speed is there. I think the Italian is going to be on defense here as we're moving into the second 1,000 of this race. And Roman Polyanski still needing to have some ground to make up here between these two leading crews. Ben Pritchard, there he is there, the British athlete who is just getting his periodization just right, it seems like, just in time for the Paralympics, because he is absolutely challenging for a podium position here at this stage in the race.
Well, it would be absolutely sensational if the silver medalist at the last 2 Worlds could force himself into the gold medal slot here, Perini. It's a heck of a battle between Perini and Pritchard at the front of the field. Polyanski still very much in that conversation. The street fighting spirit is sure to come through in the closing stages of this race. It was a lead of 0.98, cut to 0.69 in between the 500 and the 1,000 splits for the Italian over the Brit, but it is still Giacomo Perini who is leading this men's singles race. Now then, Italy have only ever won 1 medal. It was a gold at the para rowing regattas back in 2008 in Beijing. That was in the mixed Coxed 4. Look at this. Pritchard is right up to the bow here. Oh, Perini, could the Brit do it? Britain did have a winner in this boat division. Tom Agger won the first ever gold back in 2008. And Pritchard is getting himself into the lead here.
Yeah, we're into that second 1,000 meters of the race, and this is where Ben Pritchard knows that his fitness is going to come into play. He's really just started to light the afterburners, maybe not at full speed yet, but what a move he's executed here, just going right through Perini in the last 20 strokes or so, and he's established a full boat length lead, maybe open water now between himself and the Italian. It looks like Giacomo maybe didn't set himself up with quite enough margin in order to fend off this huge offensive move that we've seen from Ben Pritchard, because he's just continuing to open up this gap, and I don't think Roman Polyansky is going to have an answer either.
Ben Pritchard here for Great Britain. It could be the first gold in this boat division for the Brits in 16 years. How about this, the 1500 marker? And Pritchard has taken down Perini. He's now ahead of the Italian by the best part of 4 seconds. And then Polyansky just a couple of seconds back. It looks like we have our 1, 2, 3. Eric Horry is all set to finish off the podium. In his 4th Paralympic Games, Polyansky needs to throw everything at this, but is he going to be able to do it? I'm not entirely sure.
Well, we've seen Polyansky have some extremely fast finishes in the past, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to get him all the way through the Italian or not. It might be just within striking distance. Giacomo Perini has had such a huge effort so far to hold off Ben Pritchard up until this point, so how much he's going to have left in the tank in this last 500 meters, we can't know yet, because Roman Polyansky is going to be mounting that charge any moment now. Ben Pritchard has rolled himself off screen. He's established such a large margin between himself and Perini. I think he is going to be pretty untouchable for the gold at this point.
Yeah, Pritchard is all set since World Rowing Cup 1 in 2022. Pritchard has always been on the podium, including back-to-back bronzes at the 2022 and 2023 World Champs. He's had a bronze at the Euros. He won his first international regatta at World Rowing Cup 3. Pritchard, so we know all about the form. Look at the lead. The Brit is enjoying. He's going to take the gold medal. Polyansky is all set to row through Perini, and there's going to be a threat coming in from Eric Horry as well. Is the Italian set to fade off the podium altogether?
Well, Ben Pritchard has really just laid down the gauntlet, hasn't he? It's going to be no question for him. Gold medal has been locked up early on in this race, earlier than we might have expected, because we thought it was going to be so tight between these tough competitors in this PR1 men's single. But Roman Polyansky now just pouring it on here as we're coming through the red buoys. Giacomo Perini maybe just running out of gas. We're seeing the head start to go. That sometimes means that the wheels are about to come off, because here comes our defending Paralympic gold medalist. He's coming through Giacomo Perini, and he's moving into that silver medal position. It's going to be too much to overhaul Ben Pritchard at this point, but wow, here we go. It's maybe not over yet for the silver and the bronze. Does Giacomo Perini have anything left? But Ben Pritchard, a sensational gold medal for him, his first gold at the Paralympics for Great Britain.
The Welsh Dragon roars to the win, and Polyansky is not going to win gold again, but it's a silver. Perini with the fade to 3rd, and Eric Horry is off the podium. What a spectacular win there for Ben Pritchard. He told us he was in form. He set that Paralympic Games best time earlier in this regatta, and Britain with a gold medal in this boat division for the first time since Tom Agger's championship performance in Beijing 2008. Pritchard, fantastic there for the Brits. Oh, he got out, he was in control, and Polyansky had nothing in the tank. Okay, it was an overtake of Perini for that silver medal. Fair play to Perini, who has the podium finish, the bronze medal, but it is not the three-peat for Roman Polyansky, but still a medal. 2 straight golds and a silver, and Giacomo Perini ensures that Italy are on the para rowing podium for the first time since Beijing 2008. Well, wasn't as close as we perhaps might have anticipated. Pritchard just owned the field there, didn't he?
Ben Pritchard just blew the doors off of this final. We've seen him finish so quickly in those last 500 meters before and open up gaps between himself and his competitors, but he really put the pedal down a lot earlier in the race course today than we've seen him do in the past. So huge margin win for him. That's got to feel great, knowing that his process and all of his preparation has led him up to this moment to execute just this perfectly dominant performance in the final.
How about that, setting up the medal races for the Brits. Didn't have a competitor in the women's single, but Rouse and Stevenson, big favourites in the double. And obviously we know about the incredible winning run of the British, the Coxed 4, dating back 15 years. That was a less expected gold medal. We knew Pritchard was in the hunt for medals, but the gold, well, he's exploded it there, Ben Pritchard.
Well, the signs were there. He had a really great race, toppling Perini at the World Cup 3 in Poznan just a few weeks ago. Looked like he was coming on form, getting the periodization and the physiology just right in order to peak at the perfect moment here at the Paralympics. And there you go. That says it all, doesn't it? Huge win for him. All the long hours, the process. Ben has spoken a lot about enjoying the process and making this whole journey to the Paralympic Games about the everyday and not about the result.
And what a step up as well, 5th in Tokyo, all the way into the gold medal spot. 9:03.84 for Ben Pritchard. He drops the 2-time defending Paralympic champion Roman Polyansky into silver. Perini edges out Eric Horry. There's no podium, I'm afraid, for Eric for the 4th straight Paralympics, as Italy take 3rd and the bronze. So before the continuation of our A final racing, we're going to have the victory ceremony for the PR1 women's single. Some lovely images there, as we see in slow motion, Marin Samuel's winning performance. So, in the men's and women's singles, the defending champions from Tokyo downgraded to 2nd place this time around. Polyansky we've just seen in the men's, and before him, Birgit Skarstein, beaten by Marin Samuel with this emotional bronze medal performance, and that brilliant finish from Nathalie Benoit. They're taking down Anna Sheremet. Sent at the line a little bit earlier. It was almost at the line taking down Skarstein, wasn't it, for the silver? But podium full stop is quite a way to bow out.
Yeah, no doubt the power of the grandstands should not be underestimated for these French athletes today. So much French support in the stands, just bringing her home to that bronze medal finish. Nathalie Benoit rounding out just a phenomenal career in this PR1 women's single.
So then we'll have the presentation of the medals here two-person presenting team consisting of Mr. Andrew Parsons, the president of the International Paralympic Committee, and accompanying person without presenting, Mr. Rémi Rioux, the AFD CEO.
Médaillée de bronze, représentante de la France.
Bronze medalist representing France,
Nathalie Benoît.
Listen to the cheers for Nathalie. What a great performance that was, truly. The first medal won in London with a silver. And she took that well-publicised break from the sport to took it easy, really, with rowing 1,000 kilometres from Paris to Marseille, the kind of things these incredible athletes do. And then returned to competition to win the bronze in Tokyo and followed it up 3 years on in front of our home support in Paris. Birgit Skarstein has lost that long, impressive winning run dating all the way back to Rio. She won the gold in Tokyo. She has the silver medal here. She's adding another para-rowing medal. Skarstein's won the only two that Norway have won in this sport. Silver this time.
Médaillée d'or et championne paralympique.
And already the first Israeli para-rower to win medals at multiple Paralympic Games. Moran Samuel upgrades the bronze from Rio, the silver from Tokyo to the gold medal. Paralympic Games best time set here on the water in Versailles as well, 9:58.02. A little bit slower in the A final, but who cares about that? She has the gold, that's all that matters. Proud moment for Moran Samuel. I'm sure wife Limor and children Arad, Rom and Segev will be savouring this moment too. A new nation sits atop of the podium in the PR1 women's single. Britain have provided a gold medalist, Ukraine, Norway, and in Paris 2024 it is Israel with Moran Samuel. Norway, Skarstein with the silver, France's Benoit with the bronze. No let up in the programme. It's back to the starting traps here for the A final in the PR2 mixed double sculls.
minutes.
7:56.92. Rouse and Stevenson are the big favourites, and they are the quickest in the field as well, having set the world best and Paralympic Games best time of 7:56.92 earlier in this regatta. Ukraine, Poland, Britain and China in the centre lanes, Israel and France in this six-crew race. European bronze medalists, sixth at the Worlds, securing the last qualifying place. Lane one for Anna Asanova and Yaroslav Kuyuda. Was fourth in Tokyo, fifth in Rio. Yaroslav, new partner this time round. Jolanta Maika in her fifth at Paralympics. She's part of the elite club with the Brazilian single sculler. Competed in every para-rowing regatta. World champs bronze with Mikhail Godowski. Been racing together since 2011, these two. Olympic champs, world champs, European champs. Rouse and Stevenson. Rouse won the last two golds with Lawrence Whitley. Stevenson is now in the boat. Who can stop them? Maybe the world champs silver crew, Liu Shang and Zhijian Zhang. Bronze in Tokyo. Second quickest behind the Brits in this field. Shahar Milfelder, Salah Shaheen, second at the FPQR, go in lane 5, representing Israel. And Davier and Bouge, FPQR qualifiers, just off the podium at the Euros. Bouge with 2 medals down the years at para-rowing regattas, silver in 2012, bronze with 2016 in this event with the Stefan Tardieu, who's coup de baton today here at Versailles. Davier is in the boat with Pearl Bouge now for France in lane 6.
Ukraine, Poland, Great Britain, China, Israel, France. Attention.
Nine entries in this boat division, the PR2 mixed double sculls. It's been raced at every para-rowing regatta since 2008. The huge favourites are Rouse and Stevenson in lane 3 for Great Britain. Lauren Rouse bidding to become the first British rower to win 3 Paralympic golds, lining up with Greg Stevenson, who is the new partner, replacing Lawrence Whitley, who shared those golds with Rouse in 2016 and 2020. A different partner, but same outcomes. Rouse and Stevenson have already set the world best time on this racetrack earlier in the regatta.
Well, the last time we saw these two lead crews, China and Great Britain, face off was at the World Championships last year, and it came down to just the closing strokes in that race to decide the gold and the silver. Looks like China is out to employ the same tactics again and see if they can't rattle the British here early on, but it is the British crew just holding on to just maybe a deck deficit at this stage, and we're going to see them come on very strongly through the middle of the race course if history is any tell about how this race will unfold. The trailing 4 crews, it does look like it is France that is getting the best of the rest at the moment on the bottom of the picture there, but here we're looking at the Chinese lineup doing really well out in front and just holding on to that very slender lead between themselves and Great Britain.
Yeah, you can't discount the experience of the Chinese. Chinese crews who've been on the podium in this event at every single para-rowing regatta. They won gold in the first 2 events in 2008 and 2012. Shannon, Zhu and Fei and Liu, and then Liu and Fei with the silver medal performance behind Whitley and Rouse on the lagoon in Rio. They were bronze behind Whitley and Rouse, and Vandermeer and Corne de Konik and the Sea Forest Waterway 3 years ago in Tokyo. So great heritage there. And China, they're going well.
China are going well. It does look like they've maybe extended that lead a little bit, but just being tracked very closely by that British boat. British boat probably not going to be one to get out and have a super flashy start in the first 500 meters or so. They're going to be more patient and rely on that base fitness through the middle of the race. We're going to see them even let this lead go out even a little bit further, as I said, that crossing over the first 500. China first across, followed by Great Britain. Then a big charge from Israel here to move through France in the last 250 meters or so. Israel now in that bronze medal position.
Yeah, moved up over Dabier and Bouge, not much in it, just over half a second there. Milfelder and Shaheen over Benjamin Dabier and Paul Bouge. At the 500 marker, Liu and Zhang with the 151 over lead, a second and a half over the Brits. And then a little bit further back, the Israelis. There are 1, 2 and 3 at present. We'll wait for a surge from these two, Rouse and Stevenson. Twice a Paralympic champion already, Lauren Rouse, become really the poster athlete of this event in the last few years. Those victories with Lawrence Whitley, Rio and Tokyo, return to the event in this new look combination in 2023 with Greg Stevenson, the former Royal Engineer Commando. But work to do to get up to the Chinese here. There's plenty of time though.
Well, what are we seeing here from this Israeli combination challenging the British here in the second 500? This is something I would say a little unexpected from this Israeli duo to be rowing toe-to-toe with the British world best time holders and defending world champions just 2 lanes away from them. Huge move from the Israelis here and pushing up into the Chinese even.
Yeah, terrific here from Milfelder and Shaheen. These are dangerous outsiders. Weren't automatic qualifiers for this para rowing regatta. Had to come through the FPQR. They were second in that even, behind the French, Bouge and Taldieu. This is interesting. This is really interesting. There's real work here for Rouse and Stevenson to do.
I'd say this is getting a little dangerous for Lauren Rouse and Greg Stevenson if they're hoping to snatch that gold medal, because it is open water now between themselves and China. That's a big job, no matter what your record is, to overhaul a boat that has a lead like that at this stage in the race, and being challenged on their right by this Israeli crew who is absolutely not going away.
And Liu and Zhang at the K with a lead of 2.49 over Rouse and Stevenson, and Milfelder and Shaheen just biting at those ankles again. So that is the extent of the fight there between 2 and 3. Britain and Israel forget about winning that gold at the moment for Rouse and Stevenson. Liu and Zhang seem to be in control. We knew that they would be the nearest competitors, the closest challengers really, after their tussles at the World Champs in Belgrade. China have done their homework here on how to beat Rouse and Stevenson.
This is a huge turn up from the Chinese crew and a big, big challenge for this GB crew. If they have an answer, they're going to need to start coming up with it right now. Otherwise, they are going to run out of lake, because it is still that open water margin, or maybe just a little overlap now, as I've said that. It's a little bit hard to tell from the overhead just how much the margin is, but it is still for sure a whole boat length between GB and China to make up if GB is going to hope for that gold and not have to settle for silver. It does look like Rouse and Stevenson are making an impression on this Israeli move. The Israeli athletes holding on to the bronze position, because I do think these 3 crews have pushed themselves away from the rest of the field and are established in those medal positions. But China making really easy work, it looks like, of this GB crew, which is a huge turnaround from what we might have expected going into this final.
Yeah, we've said it once or twice, haven't we, in terms of the Chinese and their presence in Europe at some of the big regattas. Don't often make it because of the geographical distances involved. Have raced in Europe just once since those games in Tokyo at the Belgrade Worlds last year, when Britain beat them. But Rouse and Stevenson looking for a huge final 500 here, and they are gaining, I think, here. What a sprint finish is required from the Brits for another gold medal performance. But China still holding it, actually, with 500 to go. I mean, certainly the Brits have come past Israel, but it is still China. Liu and Zhang threatening a surprise result. They're beating Rouse and Stevenson to the gold medal.
Well, the only boat that's been even within striking distance over this Paralympic cycle, Rouse and Stevenson haven't been together long, but they've been so dominant in this event and so quick with so many world best times to their name. It does look like if they're going to have an answer, it's going to need to happen soon because we're well inside the last 500 meters. They are starting to move, but will they have enough lake to overthrow this Chinese duo who have led the race up until this point?
Yeah, they've up their stroke rate. They've heard the hooves galloping from Rouse and Stevenson. Both of the Chinese and British crews at 37 strokes a minute, running at about 14 kilometers an hour. The racetrack is running out. Britain with so much work to do here. Rouse and Stevenson. Look at the sprint, though. It's being launched here by the Brits over on the far side. Liu and Shang, Jijian digging in. Can Britain do it? Do they have the acceleration to come through in the last 200?
Well, they are building momentum, but is it going to be enough? It's still half a boat for Rouse and Stevenson to come up with. It looks like they're moving one seat at a time now, and that lead that China has held this whole time is just shrinking ever smaller as Rouse and Stevenson are timing this sprint to perfection to snatch the gold in the closing meters of this race. They have pulled ahead now. It is just a bow ball for Rouse and Stevenson. Wow, look at this finish from them. Where have they found this speed?
This strategy has been absolutely perfect here from Lauren Rouse and Greg Stevenson, who've waited till the last quarter to come through. They say they're Oasis fans. They've gone supersonic here and are going to be the rock and roll stars of the PR2 mixed double. It is Rouse and Stevenson for a glory gold medal performance, taking down the Chinese for another gold medal in this boat division. Rouse does it again, this time with the Greg Stevenson. Israel hold the podium for a third place finish, and just at the World Champs, just like at the World Champs, Britain have the edge over China. It was looking for so long like the Chinese were going to take down GB, but Rouse and Stevenson, the Queen and the King in this division, do it again. Three-peat win for Great Britain in this boat. What a finish from those two.
Well, they really kept us on the edge of our seats, didn't they? They certainly waited until the last minute to pull out the stops for that sprint, but it was really just superbly, perfectly timed. Lauren Rouse didn't look unflustered or just completely unbothered in the bow seat. She knew exactly what they were going to be capable of in those closing meters, and she called it, executed it perfectly, coming away with the gold in those last few strokes over China. So
Lauren Rouse becomes a three-time Paralympic champion. They switched it up from Whitley to Stevenson. They mentioned it. They left it late. Or did they? Kind of in control.
No,
they knew what they would do.
They left it late.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
But a great show for us. Just thrilling racing in this event. It was so close all the way down the track. We were expecting a move, waiting for it. And they delivered, didn't they? It finally came through there in the last few strokes of this race. And what an effort by this Israeli crew. We saw them feature so strongly early on, got themselves into a great position to get up onto the podium and executed it, holding down that bronze medal position.
Well, then that's a third successive gold for Lauren Rouse at the age of just 26. It's frightening what she can go on and achieve. Indeed, her and Stevenson all in.
Very impressive record for her. Again, we mentioned earlier in the regatta, she was the one that called up Greg and told him that he'd have a future in the sport. Maybe if he gave it a shot, might be good at it. Never know. Come on down, give it a try. Looks like she has an eye for recruiting and did a great job finding herself the perfect doubles partner for this year's Paralympics.
It is a third straight gold for Great Britain in the PR2 mixed doubles sculls at the Paralympic Games. China comes second. That's the same one too as at the World Champs in Belgrade. Israel take third place. And before the continuation of racing, the next final, by the way, will be the mixed double for PR3 athletes. We're going to have the victory ceremony in the men's single. Whoa, what about this? Perini has been excluded from the podium, and Eric Horry makes it again. We'll keep you posted. Just news coming into us right now that Eric Horry, who was ousted by Perini, who faded to third place. He was in charge for a lot of that race, Perini. But this is quite a sensation, actually, in the final shake-up. We're going to see the victory ceremony now in the PR1 men's singles. So Pritchard won that. We know that, never in doubt. 9:03.84. Polyansky, who was looking for the three-peat, gets the silver this time. So no third straight gold for the Ukrainians. And Eric Horry, wow, 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 wow. Silver, 3 Paralympic Games in a row. Gets on the podium again with a bronze. We'll update you with the news as and when we get it as to exactly what the problem was there with Perini. But Italy don't get a medal at the para-rowing regatta for the first time since 08 after all. Well, we're pretty stunned here in the commentary box. No doubt Eric Horry is as well. But stunned in the best sense of the word, because he picks up another medal. His 4th straight Para Games, yeah. So, this is our presentation committee.
Accompanied by
Madame Frida Svensson, membre du comité exécutif de World Rowing.
World Rowing Executive
Rosie
Committee
McLaughlin,
member.
World Rowing Executive Committee member, and it's Frida Svensson, accompanying person without presenting. Incredible scenes.
Australia,
Who's done it again? Eric Horry, silver, London, Rio, Tokyo, bronze here. Another medal. Now, the Aussies have only ever won 5 medals in para-rowing at the Games. Eric Horry has got 4 of them. What a legend.
Médaillé d'argent représentant de l'Ukraine.
Silver medalist representing Ukraine.
Bertie boy. Not another gold, but it is another medal. This time silver for the Rio and Tokyo champion. Another silver for Ukraine. Alexander Petrenko won a silver, 2nd place behind Tom Aggo back in 2008 in this boat. .38 today, and a medal.
Médaillé d'or et champion
Silver then
représentant de la Grande-Bretagne.
for Roman.
Gold medalist and Paralympic champion representing Great Britain.
What a performance from Ben Pritchard, the Paralympic champion. The first time Britain have won this event since Tom Aggo in 08. And he made all the improvements necessary, the Welsh Dragon, to breathe fire here across the Nautical Stadium, northeast of Paris. 5th in Tokyo, but here he is, king of the jungle in the PR1 men's single. Ben Pritchard, a brilliant win.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand if you are able for the anthem of Great Britain.
The Union Jack flying high then at the end of the PR1 men's single. Ukraine's Polyansky gets another medal, not the gold this time, it's a silver, and Eric Horry, bronze, following on from 3 successive silver medal performances.
One of the best things about this event, it's hard to deny the camaraderie, the friendship, and the love that exists between these athletes. They get to know each other so well over their careers. They've been racing each other for such a long time. So much respect and love between all of these guys. I mean, it's obvious to see, you know, the joy that they're sharing with each other on the podium. But such a special part of rowing the single.
Set up quite the final day, that, for Britain. We've seen Rouse and Stevenson add another gold in the PR2 mixed double. They've got their crews in the remaining A finals as well, Great Britain. Indeed, the women's single, the only boat in which GB haven't qualified a crew. The latest A final, the latest gold medal race comes in the PR3 mixed double, this debut boat division here in Paris 2024. Making it 5 medal events, the increase from the previous para-rowing programme. 11 entries. There's an Altschwager, the favourites, Paralympic Games best time setters in 7:11.30, and that same crew set the world best time on the Versailles Lake in June of 2023. France, Brazil, Germany, Australia, the Brits, Ukraine go in this para-rowing final. Looking for another glory performance in front of home support is Guilain Marchand and Laurent Cadeau, world champs, bronze medalists. Cadeau actually with LRL birdie, but Guilain, a 55-year-old, has come into this boat, and they'll be brought home by a riotous support in the grandstands here. Invitation boat goes in lane 2, 6th at the world. Diana Barcelos de Oliveira, Jairo Klug from Brazil. They were in the 4 in Tokyo, finished 10th there. European silver. These are dangerous outsiders here. Jan Helmich and Herman Krumben, 5th at the Worlds. That was Krumben and Valentin Lutz in the boat there. Jan has come in to give them a bit of extra kick. World champions, 8:07.07 was that time they won in Belgrade a year ago. There's an Altschwager, and start as the gold medal favourites in this race. The European champions come from Britain, Sam Murray and Annabelle Caddick, just off the podium at the Worlds, 4th. Been a fabulous day thus far on the waters here for Britain. European bronze, 7th at the Worlds, the B final winners, but here they are going for a medal. Top 6 finish for Daria Kotik and Stanislav Samolyuk, the married couple from Ukraine. Race in lane 6.
Well, these are our history makers, aren't they? Our first Paralympic champions in this event about to be crowned in just a few minutes' time.
France, Brazil, Germany, Australia, Great Britain, Ukraine. Attention, red light.
Paralympic history being written right here, right now on the waters of Versailles, northeast of Paris. First medals to be awarded in this mixed double sculls A final for PR3 athletes. We have France, Brazil, Germany, Australia, Britain and Ukraine in the race. Out quickly, Helmich and Krumben. They were really strong in their heats, weren't they? And have to be in that conversation for the medals.
I think they do. This German crew, to me, is just such a special teams boat. They have such a fast start and such a fast finish. We've seen them kind of fade a little bit through the middle of the race, but come back really strongly through people in the last closing meters. So we'll be keeping our eyes on that crew in the center lane, that German crew, to challenge this Australian dominance that we've seen in this PR3 mixed double, because here they come now. It's the Aussies just working through that early German lead as we cross over the 250-meter mark. Yeah, that foot down to the floor being deployed now by Eisen Altschwager, the winners of World Rowing's 2023 Para Crew of the Year award. These two, Nikki Ayres and Jed Altschwager, become the ones to beat in this first Paralympic cycle in this event. 2023, twice set a new best time on their World Rowing Cup debut in Zagreb before winning the World Champs, and by several lengths as well. And they're pushing out into a significant lead. It is nip and tuck behind for Germany and Britain. Helmick and Krumben, Murray and Caddick. That may well turn into the battle for silver and bronze. It's Australia, not by a million miles, but the Aussies are ahead here. Well, we're not going to write off Laurent Chateau over there at the top of the screen, representing France, riding in the stroke seat of this French double. Just so experienced. We've seen him have some very good results over the years, and we'll expect him to come on strongly through the middle of the race as well. So let's not write them out of this story yet, but it is going to be eyes on this Australian crew that's leading the field now. Look at them. They've just strided out into their base rhythm, looking very loose, very confident out there in front. Altschwager and Ayres doing so well just to lead this field. Not quite out to that full boat length yet, because here we go. We have a nice shot of Annabelle Caddick and Sam Murray, who are chasing very, very hard at the bottom of the picture here. Just half a boat now between GB and Australia, but Australia really understroking the Brits at this stage, looking a lot more relaxed. Does look like they're more on offense at this point, and maybe even the GB boat just on defense, maybe a little bit edgier, a little bit more nervous there, and the GB boat just striking a little bit higher. We see that German boat hanging on in there too, currently in that bronze medal position as we're crossing over the 750-meter mark. Well, Murray and Caddick nicely poised here, running 112 down at the 500 quarter race distance, and seem to be gaining stroke by stroke, perhaps inspired just a few moments ago by that finish by Rouse and Stevenson in the PR2 mixed final. Sensational win for Britain there, as well as Ben Pritchard's gold medal performance a little earlier in the single. It is still Eisen Altschwager, but the Britons gaining with every stroke here, and Germany currently in third place. Helmick and Krumben, they were 144 down at the quarter. Murray and Caddick will be happy enough at present. Ayres and Altschwager were always going to be the favourites for this gold medal race, but with that comes its own particular heavy pressure. Can they hold off the Brits here as we come up to the K? It's going to be very close, you know. That's a tiny, tiny margin, and a huge challenge that we're seeing coming from this Great Britain boat against this dominant Australian duo. Altschwager and Ayres are going to have their work cut out for them in this third 500-meter. Both of these programs known for having such strong middle sections of the race, really relying on length, patience, maturity, really focusing on not going up too high too soon. We see that here in this experienced Australian duo, just maybe taking the rate up just a beat now, just to answer the call from the Britons here on the bottom of the picture. But going stroke for stroke here, it is these two crews from Australia and Great Britain that are really taking a hold of this race out in those gold and silver medal positions. Well, Ayres was just off the podium in the 4 in Tokyo. It's a nice rhythm she's got going with Jed Altschwager. They teamed up in 2022, these two. There's not much movement in terms of the gap right now between Ayres and Altschwager and Murray and Caddick, but it was shaved down to just 300ths in between the 500 and the 1K marker. They still just about have it, Ayres and Altschwager. Murray and Caddick will look to up the stroke rate as we come into the final 500 and look to emulate Rouse and Stevenson, who came past their competitors to win a
sensational race a little earlier in the other boat division, but it is still the Aussies. Here's an Altschwager from Murray and Caddick, and Helmick and Crumben being dropped a little off the front two at present. But they are 1, 2 and 3 here in this PR3 mixed double.
Well, the Germans look like they might just be biding their time here in that bronze medal position. We've seen them come back so fast with such a deadly execution of a sprint in the last 500 meters, and I'd say if these two crews leading them at the moment are not over a boat length ahead by the time we get to the last 500 meters, they are going to be under threat for whatever medal they currently are holding, because it is so close to call between the Aussies and Great Britain. Could go either way between these crews as we come up to the line, but Germany look like they've got just that open water deficit, so it might be too much to overturn or change the color of their medal at the moment, but we'll see and anticipate that fast sprint from them. Does look like we've had a decisive shift in that Australian boat. They've taken up the rate, up in the intensity a little bit there, and the urgency. Ayers and Altschwager just starting to edge away from this charge from Annabelle Caddick and Sam Murray of Great Britain, who have not yet responded by taking up the rate.
Yeah, they up their lead over the Brits as an Altschwager up the 1500 to 1:22. Let's remind ourselves that the Aussies have the world best time of 7:07:02, Paralympic Games best time of 7:11:30, and here come the Germans. Helmick and Crumben hit the throttle and are looking to take down Murray and Caddick now, who really have to dig in to hold on to silver medal placing. The Brits, I don't think it's going to be gold. It's not going to be another gold for the Brits. Ayers and Altschwager have this in the palm of their hand here for the Aussies.
Yeah, Jan Helmick in the bow seat of the German boat, just looking over a couple times there because he's feeding off of the momentum that they're building in that German boat. He knows that they are going to take down this German boat on the move, because look at the speed that they found in the German boat. We knew it was coming, and here it is playing out right before our eyes. Absolutely timed to perfection. These special teams experts in this German combination are mowing down this silver medal Britain crew here in these final closing meters. Jan just looking over at Sam, knowing he's pulling even, and here they come up to the line, challenging up into this Australian boat. It is going to be Australia over the line. Last few strokes for them, and so close to call.
The Aussies take it. I think it was the Brits who had it.
Ooh, that was a great response.
I'm not putting any money on it, but I think it was the Brits who just about had it there from Helmick and Crumben at the line. But Australia have a first ever gold medal in para rowing, and it's thanks to Ayers and Altschwager in the PR3 mixed double. They write their name into the Paralympic history as the first ever winners of this event. And Murray and Caddick,
there you go,
they confirm there with the silver medal. Helmick and Crumben perhaps didn't start that sprint early enough. Boy, oh boy, they had to use every ounce and the fibre of their being there, Murray and Caddick, to hold on to that silver. But Ayers and Altschwager in control. The world champions become the Paralympic Games at best champions. Of course, they're spent, but they have made history. The Aussies finally have a gold medal in para rowing. 7:28:19. Murray and Caddick get Britain on the podium again, and Helmick and Crumben for Germany. That's only Germany's second ever para rowing medal. It's a third. It's a bronze. That was a great finish.
Well, we knew that sprint was going to come from the Germans, didn't we? We've seen them employ it so successfully. Unfortunately for them, Annabelle Caddick and Sam Murray also knew it was coming, so they had an answer in the bag this time, and they just managed to hold them off by the tiniest of margins to hold on to the silver. 1200ths
at the end there for Murray and Caddick. And the Aussies do it. There's an Altschwager following on the back of Eric Horry's bronze. It's a gold.
Absolutely supreme in this Australian boat. Handled every challenge thrown at them by this British combination. Saw them shift in the last 500 meters. It was decisive, and off they went. Held on to the lead, executed perfectly. Gold. For the first time ever in this event, down in history as the first Paralympic champions in the PR3 mixed double. Nikki Ayers, Jed Altschwager for Australia.
Great addition to the program as well. Fantastic racing there.
Yeah, well, so many of these athletes have spent some time in the four, transitioned into this boat, and here we are. Great fit for them. Our first medalists in the PR3 mixed double. Happy there.
So it was 4 silvers coming into this regatta in Paris for the Aussies. Eric Horry has added the bronze. It is a first gold medal for Australia in para rowing. Nikki Ayres and Jed Altschwager have delivered it with Boson. 7:26.74 the win by 1:45 over Great Britain, who take that silver ahead of Helmick and Crumben's sprint finish by 12 hundredths. And no glory there for France, I'm afraid. Martian and Cadeau, by the way, finished down in 6th place. Victory ceremony now for the PR2 mixed double. The latest victory ceremony then, as the medalists are presented with the hardware. Comes in the PR2 mixed double. Megan Calmo alongside me, bringing back memories of London 2012 and that bronze medal performance. I mean, what was going through your mind at this point? All the years, all the early start, all the pain in training. It's all worth it at this point, isn't it?
Well, I've been a little quiet while we've been doing the victory ceremonies because I've been getting pretty emotional. It's been so fun for me to relive those moments and be so happy, share the joy of the athletes that get to have these moments on the podium here at the Paralympics, seeing how much camaraderie, friendship, and connection they all share with each other, knowing each other so well. The para-rowing community is a little bit smaller than the rowing community at large, but these guys all know each other so well, and getting to share these moments up on the podium is just so cool, and all the emotion is just so evident. So yeah, I've been trying to keep it together on the mic so that I'm not crying into the microphone, but really great experience for me just to be on the other side of it and watch everybody enjoy these moments.
Good stuff. Presentation committee.
Board member of the Agitos Foundation.
This Christina Malloy, Alex Van Hulk, Chief Membership and Impact Officer at the IPC and board member of the Agitos Foundation, respectively. After the modern Samuels gold in the single, we have Shah Milfelder and Saleh Shaheen from Israel claiming the bronze here in the mixed double for PR2 athletes. That's quite an upgrade. They had to come through the final, the Paralympic qualifying regatta. They didn't even win that. They were second at that. But we often say a crew comes through from the FOQR or the FPQR, has that momentum, takes it all the way through to a podium. And that's what Milfelder and Shaheen have done here.
Well, we've been saying it throughout the regatta. The medals don't care where you come from. They just care that you get there. No matter what lane it is, whatever your progression is, if you come straight through the heat, you come through the rep, you have to come through the final qualification regatta, the medals don't care. It just matters that you show up on the day and capitalize on your opportunity to perform at the Paralympics. And here we are, our bronze medalists.
The third bronze in para-rowing for Israel. Well, they were billed as the closest challengers to Britain, and they had that race in the palm of their hand for so long. The world champ silver medalists and the bronze crew from the Sioux Forest Waterway 3 years ago in Tokyo, Liu and Zhejian. who won a silver in Rio, actually, and has another silver here. China, second.
Many congratulations. Thank you. Very well done. Very impressive.
Yu and Zhang then, second, take the silver.
Représentant de la Grande-Bretagne.
Gold medalists and Paralympic champions representing
The Golden Girl,
Great Britain.
Lauren Rouse with Greg Stevenson take the gold again for Britain in this boat. It's another one for Rouse. Rio, Tokyo, and now Paris. She's won the lot with Lawrence Whitley in the last two games, and now with Greg Stevenson. And what a finish to take down the Chinese, by the way. These two are at the absolute top of their game.
They really are, and I hope Greg is happy with his decision to come into the sport late in the cycle and take it on, because rowing training is not something to be undertaken lightly. So all the early mornings and the long sessions and the grind that you go through in order to get to the Paralympic podium is no small feat. So hopefully he's happy with that. Usually the gold medal erases some of those those hard mornings.
The gold medal crew. It's the three-peat for Britain in the PR2 mixed double.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Paralympic medalists.
There's your podium for the PR2 mixed double sculls at Paris 2024. Israel bronze, China silver, Britain another gold.
Well, it's hard to believe it, but we're down to our final race of the program.
Yeah, the A finals have come thick and fast on the back of our B finals, the petit finals in our 5 boat divisions. Here we go with the PR3 mixed Coxed 4.
Raising start system.
Nailed on a favourite as you're ever going to get in any sport, in any division here. The Brits, world best time holders, Paralympic Games best time holders, unbeaten in just the 15 years in this boat division, going in lane 4. The contenders, Italy, France, USA have a great shout, Germany and Australia. But Britain are the overwhelming favourites, the 3-time defending champions in this boat. They got a bronze as well in 2008, but 7th at the World Champs of Foresti, Cettina, Muti and Frank. Coxed by Enrico Daniello. The Italians won the gold in 2008. That's their last medal, their only medal actually, at the para-rowing regattas down the years. Bronze medal crew from Tokyo. Remy Taranto and Margot Boulet in that boat. Gregoire Biro and Candice Schaffer, who is the youngest para-rower in the field this time around. Only turned 18 a couple of weeks ago.
In lane 3 for USA.
USA World Champs silver. Can they get close to the Brits? Skylar Dahl, Alex Flynn, Gemma Wallenschlager and Ben Washburn. There have been 3 silver medals in this boat division down the years for Team USA. 3-time defending champions, Francesca Allen, Rakaskaita, Josh O'Brien and Ed Fuller.
Lane 5 for
Germany. Susan Lackner, Valentin Lutz, Mark Lembeck, Katrin Marschen, Inga Turner is the 31-year-old Coxon, bronze at the Worlds. Lembeck and Marschen were in that boat. Silver for Germany, London 2012. The Aussies, 4th in Tokyo, 4th at the World Champs. Susanna Lutz, Alex Viney, Tom Birtwistle and Toby Gossifson. With the coxswain there, Hannah Cowap, lane 6.
Italy, France, USA, Great Britain, Germany, Australia. Attention, red light.
Red to green, go, go, go. Strap in, hold on to your hats here for the A final, the Olympic medal race in the PR3 mixed Cox 4. We have Italy in lane 1. We have France in lane 2, USA in 3, Great Britain, the big favourites lane 4, Germany in lane 5, Australia in lane 6. Britain's mixed Cox 4 boat has an unbeaten record at major champs going back to 2011. This season's lineup features 2 defending champions in Gidra Rakaskaita and the Cox Erin Kennedy, along with debutants Frankie Allen, Ed Fuller and Josh O'Brien. Look at this, nice and flat. How competitive is this? Who is going to make the break? Who is going to make the move?
Well, that's just about the most even start you're going to see in a field like this, and it's just thrilling for us to guess who might show first here in this fantastic field of PR3 mixed Coxed 4s. Of course, we're going to make our center lanes the favorites, our returning Paralympic gold medalists and our returning Paralympic silver medalists, GB and the USA respectively, but not going away yet. It does look like we're facing some challenges here on the left side of the course from France, our returning Paralympic bronze medalist from Tokyo, but here we are, big event favorites there, focusing in on the stroke seat Ed Fuller of the GB boat. Doing a nice job, but being probably just led almost, just a bow ball there for the USA here in the early stages.
Yeah, that's 3 on the bow of the United States boat. Make no mistake about it, it would be a shock of seismic proportions if anyone is able to get past the Britain 4 here, but it is race day. It is the significant and unique pressure of an Olympic finals day. Great Britain just about edging into the lead here. 14-year winning streak, undefeated since 2010. So Cox Erin Kennedy was to rowing clubs Gidra Rakaskaita, joined by Frankie Allen, Josh O'Brien, Ed Fuller. The last 3 Paralympic titles, and GB are showing no signs of slowing down really. They have got out in front here of the United States. The gap is just 400ths though at the 500 mark. France clinging in, 0.75 down, holding 3rd. Then it's Germany, then it's Australia, then it's Italy.
Yeah, what we can expect to see from these 2 lead crews is just supreme consistency. The GB crew might not always be #1 out of the blocks, but we're going to see them just light the fires and get going in the middle of the race course and not slow down. That is the key to their success and their consistency over these many years of their dominance, is that they just train over and over how to be super consistent in the race course, not get flustered, not respond to anything with any crazy moves or special teams efforts. It's just going to be super consistent base, power, and rhythm. So here they are, they're executing that now just in the middle of the race course, moving out to a lead on the challengers from the United States. Nice shot here of our crew from France that are also just still hanging in there. They also have overlap on the British. And let's not rule out this German crew here on the bottom of your picture there. Two from the right, leading Australia, but also with just a sliver of overlap on this dominant Great Britain crew.
Well, Great Britain set the world best time, the Paralympic Games best time in qualifying first from the heat in 6:43.68. The split time at the 500, just a little outside that, 1:42.99, 1:40 when they came through at the heat. So at the K, there's a mark of 3:22. Okay, they're 4 seconds outside that, but again, who cares? It's all about just nailing down that gold medal. United States still the closest challengers, but the lead has been pushed out to 1.5 seconds now. And Britain enjoying the lead. Still, it's France, but they're going to come under threat from Germany, surely, in the second half of this race.
Well, GB definitely is going to have an upper hand over this American crew because they have some returning Paralympic champions on board there in the GB crew, whereas this United States crew is going to be featuring all first-time Paralympians in that boat. Very, very young crew here from the U.S. All of them either just graduated recently from their collegiate programs or actually still in school as active students. Ben from Williams, Alex from Tufts, Gemma from Temple, Skylar from UVA, and Emily in the Coxed seat from MIT, all representing their collegiate programs here at the Paralympic Games. And it does look like they're doing a great job employing all the lessons that they're taking away from their university programs to hold on to that margin against this dominant GB crew.
Well, it's just one lack of a podium finish down the years in this boat class at the Paralympic Games for the United States. That was in London in 2012, the start of GB's winning sequence. They won it in London, they won it in Rio, they won it in Tokyo, and were also on the podium in 2008 as well in the bronze medal position all the way back in Beijing, which was the first Paralympic Games when para rowing was added to the schedule. But by the way, we're coming up to the 1500 marker, so Great Britain have this lead over the USA and the French 5:03, that world best split time. So some way down on that. Okay, let's forget about that. 2:30 is the gap for Britain over the United States, and then it's still France 5:43. Germany with work to do over the last 500 if they're to oust the French from a podium finish.
Fantastic turn up from this young crew from the United States, maintaining that overlap as we're coming into the second half of the race. Really great job just to see if they can rattle the Brits as they're coming through the second 1,000, because GB is not going to be used to having challenges this late in the race. By this time, we're used to seeing them well clear of the field, but the Americans are doing so well to hang on.
Great Britain leading, no great surprise there. Won the European Championships by 13 seconds. Earlier this year, this British four won the World Rowing Cup 3 event in Poznan by 6 seconds. So that's a form guide coming into this para rowing regatta at Paris 2024. 3 straight gold medals, and it's looking distinctly like a fourth here for this imperious, the Great British crew. It is still the United States. And what about Germany hunting down the French?
Yeah, this contest for the bronze is going to be really hot in this last 250 meters, and the camera is going to focus in on these last two crews challenging between the 3rd and 4th place position. France on the top of your screen and Germany at the bottom of your screen. It is just neck and neck between these two crews as we're coming through the closing meters of the race. It does look like GB is going to run away with it, with the Americans chasing for another consecutive silver for them, maybe just getting the overlap on the British as we go here, but it is going to be all about GB.
GB again, Britannia ruling the waves once more in the PR3 mixed Cox 4. What a result again. It's 4 golds in a row. What about bronze? Oh, it's a photo. It's a photo. United States coming in behind the Brits as they did at the World Champs. France or Germany? Is there to be a huge roar from the grandstands here? They're signalling a France podium. I think there might be, you know. I think there might be. France got it just from Germany. What a finish by 600ths.
Oh my.
What a finish. But Britain again. Goodness me. Another gold, a 3rd gold and a silver in their 4 A-final races here on the finals day at Paris 2024. Continuing this ridiculously successful run in this boat class. The USA come in 2nd place. That's about where we thought that things would be, really. but France 7:03.11 get a medal in the PR3 mixed Cox 4.
So we have a repeat of our Tokyo podium then, with GB on top, followed by the US in silver and France in bronze. All repeats for our 3 medal crews. Coming off the line, wow, we couldn't have asked for a better start in this field. So tight between all 6 of our PR3 mixed 4s out of the blocks, but it was GB who was going to run away with it, using that consistency and that poise, the hallmarks of this GB program, to carry them through the middle of the race. Young challengers on their left from the United States. So many of these athletes still collegiate university students here performing at the Paralympic Games. Got themselves in a position where they could watch this battle for the bronze unfold behind them between France and Germany, but it was the host nation of France who came away with that tiny margin to get themselves up onto the podium.
Well, what a fitting finish, actually, as far as the French were concerned. Just edging the Germans right at the last, in the last race on finals day here at Paris 2024. We have seen some absolutely extraordinary racing. Wonderful scenes.
A couple of photo finishes just to keep us awake here. Very, very awake, on the edge of our seats, keeping us guessing. But yeah, there we go. Gold medal for our dominant GB PR3 mixed 4.
4 boats entered into finals, 3 golds for Britain and a silver. Not bad. 6:55.30. Great Britain win it from USA, and France there with a really popular, a momentous bronze at a podium finish again for the French here.
There's your photo finish for you, confirmation. The tiniest of margins for that French crew, but podium it will be. Well, this is going to be a big step on for that American crew. I think a lot of these athletes are young enough that they can turn their sights towards a home games in LA in a few years, and narrowing that margin between themselves and the British, even from earlier in this season and certainly from Tokyo. That's some traction that I think that they can use as a positive influence here over the training over the next couple of years. But here we go, victory ceremony for our PR3 mixed double sculls.
Our penultimate victory ceremony here at Versailles. Crowns and Paralympic champions in this debut boat division. There's an outswagger from Australia making history. It's a brilliant win. The world champions just brought that form from Belgrade all the way through the 2024 season and into the para rowing regatta, and delivered on the promise. And they've also delivered Australia a first ever para rowing gold medal.
Monsieur Jean-Christophe Roland.
So, Jean-Christophe Roland, world rowing president and a very fine rower as well. A multiple Olympic medalist back in the day. Joined by Monsieur Vincent Gaillard, Secretary General of World Rowing.
Médaillé de bronze, représentant de l'Allemagne.
Bronze medalist representing Germany.
Here we go. Medals presented first to the European silver medalists of para bronze here. Jan Helmich and Herman Krumben off the podium at the Worlds. With Krumben and Valentin Lutz, Helmich has come in and there's your improvement right here, right now, on the Olympic podium. A 20-year-old from Braunschweig, Herman Krumben, 26 from the Dortmund, Jan Helmich. Bronze in the Coxed 4 last year at the Worlds. A little bit of Paralympic history being inscribed here. And this boat division is here to stay. Germany, then, with only its second ever para rowing
silver medalist representing Great Britain.
Silver. Sam Murray, Annabelle Caddick, European champions. Second now in the Paralympics, off the podium at the Worlds, fourth. Sam, the 33-year-old from Marseille Club. Annabelle Caddick grew up on the Isle of Wight, surrounded by water. And here she is next to the water. A Paralympic silver medalist. A fantastic day for Great Britain.
Yeah, we have a couple of redemption stories here on the podium for this event, don't we? Coming off a fourth place finish at Worlds last year, these two. And then, of course, our Australian athletes coming off of a fourth place finish in Tokyo.
Yeah, here they are. 33-year-old Nikki Ayers, 37-year-old Jed Altschwager. First ever gold medal for Australia in para rowing. And it comes in this debut boat class, the PL3 mixed double. The crew to beat from the Worlds. Here they are, top of the Paralympic podium.
Mesdames et messieurs, si vous le pouvez, veuillez vous lever pour l'hymne de l'Australie.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand if you are able for the anthem of Australia.
There's an Altschwager then for the Aussies, who had a pretty underwhelming Summer Games rowing regatta, just the single medal. That was a bronze, Jess Morrison and Annabelle McIntyre in the women's pair. But top of the podium here at the para rowing regatta, Nikki Ayers and Jed Altschwager in the PR3 mixed double, with the Great Britain taking silver, Germany the bronze.
Well, I'd be surprised if we aren't going to see more of these athletes in the future. Maybe the exception would be the Australians, having already logged a good deal of Paralympic experience in their careers, but the rest of these podium athletes, young enough that they have bright futures ahead of them should they continue in the sport. Crowds have been just amazing for us here today at the Paralympic Regatta. So much support for all of our competitors.
Yeah, that's a shame to wind it all down. So 3 days comes and goes pretty quickly. High octane stuff in the para rowing regatta. But what racing we've seen. Not quite done and dusted yet. We've still got the victory ceremony to come in for the PR3 mixed 4.
Of the day, but also of para rowing here in Versailles. Don't go anywhere. We've got victory ceremony for the PR3 mixed Coxed 4 coming up soon.
529 pour être précis, pour venir acclamer tous ces athlètes paralympiques pendant ces quelques jours. Merci infiniment pour ce que vous leur avez offert en termes d'émotion, ce que vous nous avez offert en termes de spectacle. Merci encore à vous.
Well, folks, we wanted to give you a big thank you for coming to the biggest party on earth, because today, here in Versailles at the Nautical Stadium, there has been a massive 9,529 of you coming to watch the para-rowing finals. So huge round of applause to you all. 9,500 of you here watching our athletes today. Brilliant stuff. And we can't wait to hear you all cheering for the last victory ceremony of the day, that PR3 mixed Coxed.
There he is.
Oh, thank goodness we finally got the fat head on screen. I've been waiting all day. And there we go.
Finished last in the final shake-up there, Alexis. The French entrant into the PR1 men's single.
Do we suppose that's him, or do we suppose that's someone from the four, maybe? It's always so hard to tell when they're always wearing their hats and sunglasses.
Yeah, exactly. French four that sneaked in, made the podium. A thrilling finish. What a way to round it out. As we wait here, for this final victory ceremony in the PR3 mixed Coxed 4. Our final victory ceremony then, just wrapping up this para-rowing regatta at Paris 2024. Sees the medalists come through in the PR3 mixed Coxed 4. France got the bronze, the USA the silver. Gold medal once again in this boat division for Great Britain.
Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the PR3 mixed Coxed 4. Please welcome the medalists.
Here they come. And the 12 para-rowers with the three coxswains doing their bit. Well, the French had the boats in all divisions, all 5 classes, and got into all the 5A finals as well, and ended up with a couple of medals on a terrific final day under the sun at Versailles. 2 bronzes.
Presented by
Nathalie Benoit in the PR1 women's single kicked it all off, and then
executive member.
The final race of the day, the mixed Coxed 4, brought it home too.
Accompanied by
Miss Eva Santo and Miss Rebecca Thomas Orr, World Rowing Executive Committee member and World Rowing Council member, form the presentation committee here.
Representing France.
The French. Candice Chaffard, Rémi Taranto, Grégoire Biraud, Margot Boulet. Tokyo bronze. Taranto and Boulet have the bronzes again. 2 new members in that boat. Candice Chaffard, the youngest in the field, all in. Only turned 18 a couple of weeks ago. What a moment for her. Straight in on the podium at the Paralympic Games. Rémi, the 42-year-old from Marseille. Grégoire Biraud and Margot Boulet, the 34-year-old Parisian, with the coxswain Emily Kistapas. Back-to-back bronzes for the French in the PR3 mixed Coxed 4.
Yeah, that's quite a rise for Bausi. Candice Chaffard having just debuted this season at the European Championships, going from that to the podium here at the Paralympics.
Bronze for France again.
Silver medalist
3 years on from the Sea Forest Waterway. Silver again, 3 years on for the USA. Skylar Dahl, Alex Flynn, Gemma Wallenschlager, Ben Washburn, this young quartet. With Emily Eldracker, the coxswain. And of course the United States would have wanted to take down the British, but I guess realistic about their prospects, and here they are with the silver.
Here they are with the silver. Young crew, no returners from Tokyo here in this boat, so great effort from them to get themselves back up onto the podium. I'm sure looking towards LA 2028 home games for these athletes in the future.
Silver in Beijing, silver in Rio, silver in Tokyo, silver here in Paris. Team USA.
And all these athletes again representing collegiate programs in one way or another, either just recently exited their collegiate program or still active student athletes. So they'll be returning home to huge support from their teams at their respective colleges and universities. Very cool element of the US team, that pipeline out of the collegiate system onto the Paralympic podium.
Médaillé d'or et champion paralympique représentant la Grande-Bretagne.
Gold medalists and Paralympic champions representing Great Britain.
For the 4th Paralympic Games in a row. Great Britain celebrate a gold medal performance in the PR3 mixed Coxed 4, extending this unbeaten run.
Francesca Allen.
A major chance, the Brit 4, unbeaten going back to 2011. Francesca Allen, Rakesh Gaita, Josh O'Brien, Ed Fuller, Erin Kennedy as part of the crew, the coxswain that won this title in Tokyo. Likewise, Rakesh Gaita, Alan O'Brien and Fuller joining the club here.
Yeah,
4 in a row for Britain.
Great mix of experience and youth here. Josh O'Brien coming in just this year. Added just what they needed here at the Paralympic Regatta to retain that gold medal.
Well, they had 8 golds coming into Paris 2024 at para rowing. They've added another 3 and a silver in 4 A-final races. The only boat that Britain didn't get an entry was the women's single. Great Britain celebrate a gold medal performance again in the mixed four.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand if you are able for the anthem of Great Britain.
Happy and glorious indeed, the Brits. It's a repeat podium from Tokyo in the PR3 mixed Coxed 4. France, a bit closer this time there, third place, edging out the Germans at the very last. And then USA silver, golden again, Britain. There's your podium in Paris 2024 for the PR3 mixed Coxed 4. France, USA and Britain. So this para rowing regatta ended with 9 nations making it to the podium. Great Britain, Australia, Israel, China, Norway, Ukraine, USA, France and Germany. USA just making it in the nick of time. Last race. Whipping up the crowd again, the French 4. No one wants to leave because it's been magnificent over the course of 3 days racing here. Weather tried its best to put a spanner in the works on day one, but look at it today on finals day. Beautiful out there. Versailles, we'll see action still. We've got the para canoeing to come a little bit later in these Paralympic Games, but I'm afraid that is it for the para rowing. 3 intense, dramatic, captivating, engrossing days of racing. Oh yeah, we're going to see a dunking, aren't we?
There we go, the coxswain toss. Great tradition in rowing if you're not a coxswain. But there she is, taking the obligatory toss.
That's Emily Kistapas, the French coxswain, trying to put a brave face on it.
Erin Kennedy looks like she's just casually making her way toward the exit there. Maybe I'll just lead our...
Time to go.
lead us off the dock, just very casually.
Finished indeed. The para racing seems to have come and gone in the blink of an eye here at Paris 2024. 3 days of racing, 28 races all in, 103 athletes, 53 boats gunning for glory, 15 medals awarded, but we are done and dusted, I'm afraid, from the para rowing at Paris 2024. 9 nations made it to the podium. Britain led the way with 3 golds and a silver medal. The Aussies, Israel, China, Norway, Ukraine, USA, France and Germany getting their boats onto the podium as well. But that's it. We'll see you again, hopefully, in LA in a few years' time. From Versailles, from Megan Calmo and myself, Andy Botfish, it's au revoir.